This is a special presentation of the Sim Racing Channel. Real racing virtually.
What's going on, everybody? I've got the Turn Down for What pre-race show getting ready to start here. Ready to kick off these playoffs for Turn Down for What. It's been 10 races, and we've got 4 races to go. 3 races will decide who will show up for the final race of the season battling for the championship. The way that they've got these things broken down, I'm looking at the rules package right now for this. And basically what it is so 10 drivers are going to Charlotte. They're going to the next race, and then the final elimination race will be Talladega. It will then shrink down to 4 drivers going to Kansas at that final 4th race, going for the championship. Whichever one of those 4 drivers that are battling it out at Kansas finishes in the highest position, they will be the champion. So this is a big start to the playoffs. We're at Charlotte. It's a tricky track for a lot of people. Usually you get about 50-50 on if people like it or dislike it, so it's kind of all over the place. I kind of like Charlotte myself. I think it's a good track. It's very tough to drive. It's kind of like, to me, it's like Las Vegas, Atlanta mixed in. All 3 of them are kind of similar with the drag that you get when you get side by side. Draft really helps. The push from the cars really help. So we'll see what happens tonight. It's going to be crazy. I've got the standings. I'll pull those up now so you know which 10 drivers are going to be in the playoffs, and that is the list. Tyler Dohar will be the number 1 going into the playoffs. He won 4 races this season, got 17 points for stages. He starts out with an 11-point advantage over the cut line. Kyle Taub, your regular season points champion, did not have any wins. That's why he is not at the top of the leaderboard, but he did get 14 points during stages. He will start out with an 8-point bonus above the cut line. Zachary Meredith with his 2 wins and 12 points, he'll start out with a 6-point bonus over the cut line. Jose Ruiz with his win that he pulled off. That was an awesome race. I remember sitting back and watching that one and thinking, Jose's going to get this. He's going to get it. And then sure enough, he got it. He's going to start out with an 11 or a 5-point bonus over the cut line. And then you got Hunter Peach, our opening season winner at Daytona. He's going to start 5 points back. Rylan Barkhouse, which is actually Pacey Wygant, he's going to start out 6 points. So he's only 6 points, 1 point back from Hunter. Byron Jones in that 2, who's been just steadily finishing in the top 5, has multiple top 2s this season. And I think at some point here, very soon, we're going to see a win come from that kid. He's been on a roll. Ryan McCall has been kind of a, and I don't want to say invisible because he's there in the top 10 consistently. You just don't see him at the front. Could he get a win this season? I think he's on the verge of it, just like Byron. They've both been right in that top 10 consistently. Same with Chris Murphy and Nate Lehman. Both of them had, all 5 of these guys at the bottom of the half of the top 10 have all been through the top 10 consistently throughout the season, and that's why they're in the playoffs. So it's going to be a really competitive playoff. If you win, you are automatically put into that Final 4 going into the final race. I see my good buddy Pete has joined the booth coming off of our Charlotte trip to the road course, and this is going to be kind of an interesting one. We both talked about it. I much rather probably have watched the oval race because the road course when we went was kind of stretched out and all over the place. But those final 12 laps definitely made up for it. Welcome to the booth, Pete, and how you doing tonight?
I am doing all right. Yeah, this track looks just a little different than what we saw just a couple of short days ago. Far less turns as well. Instead of 19 turns, we're back. Excuse me, we're back to 4. I got about 18, 19 cars that are going to be out here on track. And man, these next gens were a lot of fun to watch the other day on the road course. 103 laps without a caution, strung out, stages only, and then what do you know? A sign mysteriously flies off of the wall, coming off of what was that? Like turn 7, brings out the caution when Chase Elliott's in the lead, and then all hell broke loose. It was one hell of a time. Will we see something like that tonight? It's yet to be seen. But what you said about the track and the different drivers and the way that they tackled Charlotte Motor Speedway, the old beast of the Southeast, is going to be something interesting. 1 and 2, you kind of burp it, you get back on the throttle pretty quick. 3 and 4, still a little tight. You got to kind of let it coast for just a moment, then get back on that loud pedal and carry as much speed as you can towards that start stripe. Looking forward to see who can do it the best and grab those checkers.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be a fun race to watch. I think it's really competitive between these top 10. We've seen, week in and week out the last several weeks that the top 10 that are going into the playoffs, or the 10 playoff drivers we have, they've been pretty much consistently finishing right around that top 12 mark. So every point is going to matter through these first 3 races. And if you're not a playoff driver that wins, it's okay. But if you are a playoff driver who wins one of these first 3 races, you're automatically put into that championship drive. So those other 7 drivers are not going to want playoff drivers to win these races unless it's themselves. So before we get any further, though, I really want to bring up the graphic that we had from last week's race. I see Mama Bear out there. I see M. Brundridge 44 out there. This is who we're racing for tonight. The Survivor Spotlight is on that Christine Brundage out there. Definitely want to give a big shout out to her. I've got pink all through my SDK celebrating Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's something that, everybody's got a mom out there. Everybody, has a sister or a wife or a daughter or, all the females that are in our lives, grandmothers, aunts. We all want them to, never have to deal with this. But if they are going to deal with it, you want people to be staying positive and back them and be with them and really spotlight their battle through anything that they're going through with this. And we definitely want to give a huge shout out to Christine out there. I seen she popped in saying, "Let's go Mike Allen in the Camaro." She is Christine from Christine Wars, so I got that. But M. Brundridge out there. There's a few others that's going to be all over the place. They've got pink paint schemes going all over the place. But I definitely had to go through all my SDK today, Pete, and I threw in every bit of pink I could. It looks like a baby shower going for pink. But it's pink everywhere, all through my SDK. I've got the ribbon up. I've got all over the place. So I see Christine out saying, check out all the pink, loving the rims, so cool. Well, let's throw it into the national anthem real quick, Pete, and we'll go out on the track. You can see everything I've got going on, see all these paint schemes. We'll try to get through them before we go green. We'll be right back. All right, Pete, and also back up into the booth is Shadilak up here. Shad and Pete, we've got to go through this lineup real quick, and then we'll go through some of the cars if we have a chance. So starting on the pole tonight is going to be Pacey Wygen in that Roku TV paint scheme 005 of Hunter Peach is going to be the outside of him. We'll get going here as they're coming off of turn 4, but go ahead and read off some of these names if you can, and we'll fire through here.
Yeah, absolutely. Pacey Wygen, 100 Peach, like you just said, that's going to be your front row. Cole Snyder, Kyle Taub, Tyler Doe is going to be your top 5. John Osborne, Nate Lehman, Zach Meredith, Chris Murphy, and Byron Jones going to be your top 10. We're going green into turn number 1. Pink is the man's best friend. Let's roll.
Yeah, so coming off of turn 2, we've got Hunter Peach sliding sideways, going to the inside wall, makes contact. That Hendricks car is definitely going to have some damage, and that is a playoff driver. If you notice the tower or the ticker that goes across top of the screen, you will see pink, and that will be highlighting your playoff drivers. If they have a pink background with white lettering, that is signifying as the playoff driver until next month, where I will turn it green for our November time frame for the military appreciation. But that was a huge move there by the 5. He got real loose coming off of 2 and just went for a header right into the inside wall. But Pacey has taken off. And Shad, I know you're really good at Charlotte. Is this a good strategy for Pacey? I know it's not what you do, though.
I mean, you can to get the initial lead, but you better not do it for too many laps because tires do matter here. I know with the repave, everyone thinks that the tires don't wear, but it definitely does. It takes longer. I'd say probably around the 20 to 25 lap mark, you're definitely going to see a difference in who took care of them and who didn't. So if I was Pacey right now with almost a second lead, I would try to just maintain that and see if the pace that you decide to run is good enough to save those tires for the end.
Well, Pete, let's try to run through some of these paint schemes real quick. I'm going to click them if you want to talk about them here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's roll.
All right, so first up is going to be that leader, Pacey Wygen. I'm going to zoom in on this car, and we'll just go through the list.
Yeah, Pacey Wygen rocking a Roku TV. We've been talking about Roku and the Sim Racing channel. If you've got a Roku device or Roku TV, go on over to the search bar and type in the Sim Racing channel. A brand new service that both Swats and me and Rick James and Atlanta Racing, as well as a bunch of POV streamers and podcasts, guys like to get together and have a whole library full of content over there. You can watch sim racing or talking or conversations about sim racing all you want 24/7. And I believe they think they still have that deal going on where it's $19.99 a month for a full year. Then it looks like we got the number 81 Woody's Pepsi machine for John Osborne. Osborne's been very, very fast right now. I believe he's in possibly his best finishing position all season long. Then we got the 21 rather of Christopher Murphy up there on the high side with Kyle Taub in that 16 right down low as well. So a whole lot of movement inside this top 5, and laps are clicking on by.
Yeah, we got Byron Jones in that white and pink 213 simware.com. That car looks really good, Pete. I know that's your driver, but he looks really good tonight. He's been really fast the last couple weeks, so this is a track similar to Las Vegas that he was really good at and finished P2 or P3 in. Could we see him get into the top 2? I think it is definitely for sure, and I think he has a chance tonight for a P1. Kyle Taub sitting there in that 16. He's got a white, pink, and blue Air Force paint scheme, kind of rocking it with Monster Energy as well. Then you got Tyler Dohar coming up through the field. He's still rocking that Elite Performance Industries paint scheme. It actually looks a little different this week. It actually looks really good. Zach Meredith coming through with the National Guard paint scheme. Red, white, and blue, as always, is a pretty good. And then you got the Oreo paint scheme from Nate Lehman sitting there in 7th and 8th, battling it out with these guys. Kyle Taub dropping back a little bit, and that's kind of what you're expecting to see with guys conserving tires. You see that red, white, and blue, the 48 of Ryan McCall and the Lowe's paint scheme going around, and you've got the 37 of Jeff Levenham on the outside with those pink rims and pink numbering going on with his I don't even know what that is. Something tooling. L. Rich George has that Red Bull paint scheme. I don't know what it is about this paint scheme, but I love it. Throws me back to the old paint schemes. You see Brian Vickers, Casey Kane, even Travis Pastrana when he was up here driving those. They're really cool looking. Jose Ruiz driving his Javelin 45 actually looks a really cool old school kind of paint scheme. Then we've got the one that everybody's looking for, the Mike Allen 88 paint scheme that is out here for Tristine Warriors. Shad, you actually painted this car for Mike. If you want to give a little description of what you did for him.
Pretty much Mike just said, hey, I need a paint scheme for this, this girl that, battled and beat cancer, and pretty much gave me free reign. He did want her picture on the car, and I told him, look, man, no offense, but on cars, there's only one spot to put a picture of somebody, and it's on the hood, and do you really want to put that on the hood and then possibly smash it up? So, with the free reign that he gave me, I made 4 different paints of this. One without the chrome, one with it obviously that you see here, and then one of each of the same without the number form so he can change it. But basically, yeah, I just went online, found breast cancer awareness logos, breast cancer, warrior logos, and he just, I just started making and designing it and sent him the final picture and said, what do you think? And he said it would look amazing, showed her a picture of it, and she absolutely loved it. And actually, I seen that she posted on Facebook about it, so I'm glad that, she does like it. That was the whole goal, was to make something that she would like, and something that, I could show my gratitude and appreciation to all those women out there battling cancer and the ones that have been able to beat it. So, nothing but love.
That is that, Chad. I got to tell you, man, that is an absolutely amazing looking car. Love the spec map detail all the way around. And Mike, so far, he's up 4 spots, sitting in P number 12 after starting P16. So Mike could be working his way on through. Who knows? Maybe he'll be the warrior at the end, coming to the checkers.
Yeah, going through the rest of the list a little quicker, we got Jeff Jones in the 77 Brandt machine. He's got white and pink all over it. Looks pretty cool with the pink rims and everything. I like the rims that he threw on there without the metallic on it. It just makes the pink stand out a little better. But I love the metallic that's on Mike Allen's car. It just looks and flows so smoothly. It looks really cool in the light. It'll look really good when the lights kick on and everything, and we get going through here. Cole Snyder running the 24 W paint scheme. Not sure exactly what that is. Mike Campbell the third out here running his Monster Energy with the pink rims. Hunter Peach with his Lowe's machine. He is actually out of the race. Josh Roberts is also out of the race. So we got 2 guys out of the race already. But back up front, we've got Pacey Wygant out here in the lead battling with a few different guys. He's got guys drooped all over him that were switching positions. And actually, from what I can tell, it's actually not switching positions. I think there's something wrong with that. But John Osborne just was up front. Oh, and he is. Okay, so he's blinking. All right, so that's why it keeps flipping on me. But, yeah, John Osborne sitting second. Really good run for him right now. But you can see the blinking, and it's just throwing parts and sparks everywhere on track. So I'm not sure what's going on with these guys. But he's not the only one that we're seeing this with. We saw the 24 when they dropped into the lobby, Pete, and you were pointing it out that he was gone more than he was actually on track. So I'm not sure if there's something going on with iRacing tonight, or if there's something going on with the guys that are blinking, if it's their own connection or something like that. But Pacey's running away with this thing so far. We're 17 laps into the run. This is about the time that I would start trying to move forward. We've got about 41, 45 laps is what they can run on the fuel mileage for tonight from a couple different drivers. So I would probably start making my move now, almost halfway through the fuel run, start making the move. Guys that have gone out, a little harder than conserving are going to start losing positions. And we've seen it, Pete and Shad, both on track. You know, guys that go out there and they burn their stuff off real quick, if you can serve enough and you start making that move, you'll pass guys like they're tied to the stump. And it's insane the speed that you're getting on those a little bit fresher tires from the guys who have burned them off.
Oh, definitely. I think Pacey, especially being out there in that clean air, he's definitely, being able to save probably better than most. And I did notice after those first couple laps, John started catching him. I think Pacey realized, like, I better back this down or I'm going to burn him up. And then, he obviously, John, it looked like he did hit the wall when I could see his car when it wasn't blinked. So that's allowed Pacey now to be out there all by himself. But the big story that we seen right off the bat coming out of turn 2 was Hunter Peach losing it on his own. And it looked like he had front left suspension damage and is currently multiple laps down, 13. I'm not sure if he's even still in the race or not, but well, it looks like he did manually disconnect. So Hunter Peach out of the race, only completing half a turn basically. So big playoff implications right there.
I tell you, I'm sorry, Swats.
Nope, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say it's kind of interesting to watch. Pacey's got a 1.6 second lead over Zach Meredith, 1.9 back to Chris Murphy. That's going to be your top 3, and I don't see him really backing it down, but I do see him kind of keeping just about the same pace. Either that or Zach is just as equal as Pacey's car, and Chris Murphy he's kind of cutting it down about 1.7 now, almost 1.6. So I'm thinking that Chris Murphy right now might be the fastest of the 3 inside the top 3.
Yeah, and what I was going to explain too is if you see the ticker or the tower, I have changed the background color to pink. Those are signifying the playoff drivers. I've also changed their number next to their name to pink. But you will see that Pacey, as the leader, has a pink number next to his name, but I am unable to change the background for his name for some reason to signify that he is in the playoffs. I don't know why it will not allow me to change it. I don't know if it has to do with his iRacing ID number or something, but something's going on with his number where I cannot change it. But he does have the pink number next to his name, so it's not just the background, it's the number that you see on the ticker or the tower. If it's pink, you see that 00 coming across the screen now on the ticker, that signifies a playoff driver along with that pink background, because I could not change Pacey's. I had to do something else just to signify he was in the playoffs as well. But yeah, Chris is really good at Charlotte, Las Vegas, Atlanta, or old Atlanta, sorry. We've seen him finish in the top 5 at all the 3 tracks prior. I don't know if Pacey's just kind of pacing himself to use his name a little bit, but I'm looking at the lap times and he's not running that much faster than Zach Meredith. If anything, he's running a little bit slower than Zach Meredith, but Zach has 4 or 5 guys right around him that are kind of battling it out, and I don't know if that is what is slowing down Zach from catching Pacey, but that clean air, like Chad, like you said, is probably the biggest friend of Pacey's right now.
Yeah, I've been. Oh, as he's actually coming down pit road, he's going to try to split this stage in half. Riding on board with both Pacey and Zach, what I noticed was Pacey's actually driving in the corners a little deeper than Zach, and that's a major benefit for Zach. As one, it allows you to save tires entering the turns because your tires aren't having to turn as sharp and also sliding, and 2, it also allows you to get back to the gas sooner and really make your way down to the bottom of the track. And I think that's why Zach was a little bit faster on that run, and also probably was saving his tires just because of a matter of driving in 10 feet farther, which is what Pacey was doing. I don't know about you, Pete, but that's what I was seeing riding on both of them.
Yeah, and what you said in the beginning of the race about Pacey, getting that lead and extending it, and really it seemed like he was really driving hard. He didn't want to do that very long, and as you saw a little bit later in the run, Zach Meredith and Hunter Peach started to. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't Hunter Peach. Who's the 2021?
Chris Murphy.
Chris Murphy. There we go. Yeah. I believe it was Chris anyway. Starting to run him down. They were gaining a tenth or two a lap, and it wasn't going to be long before they caught him if they didn't decide to go ahead and split it. Speaking of splitting it, what are the actual stages tonight, Swats? I wasn't able to get with Pop Bear about all that. What's the makeup of the race tonight?
So tonight's race is actually going to be split up by 50, 50, and then I believe it's 100. So there's 200 laps tonight. You've got 65% for fuel. Average is about 41 laps on a tank. You could probably conserve a little bit. You could probably burn a little bit too if you're the leader. But I think it's a good idea for these guys, with 50 laps being the stage, to split it. And that might be why Pacey was going out as hard as he possibly could, because he knew he was going to split the stage. If he runs really, really hard for 17 laps and his tires start to fall off and the guys start to reel him back in, he's pitting in 8 laps. So he pit at 25. He's now going to come out and do another 25. Does he come out and run extremely hard again to try to get separation and get away from everybody? I think that's his goal tonight, to do that. But we're noticing some of the guys that are coming down pit road and some of the guys that are coming down a little bit later than him, they've caught up to him. Right now, Pacey's sitting third, but I believe John Osborne has not pitted and Elrich George has not pitted. But if you look behind Pacey, it's now swapped up. Kyle Taub is in the 16. He's closing in on the back of the 00 with Byron Jones as well. Zach Meredith had the worst pit stop of the group that pitted together. His was a little bit slower than everybody else's, and he also was a little slower getting on pit road. That also affected Chris Murphy, because Chris Murphy had to check up hard coming into pit road because Zach Meredith checked up so hard. It allowed Kyle Taub actually to get separation on the group, which is why he came out in front, and it actually benefited Byron Jones as well. And that's why those two separated from Zach and Chris Murphy.
Yeah, I mean, we were able to watch that right live as that group of 4 came on down pit road. Zach Meredith was a bit slow, a bit cautious getting on to pit road, maybe little leery about how the car was going to react from the banking to the transition of the apron, and then getting it woed up to pit road speed. Maybe thought it might slide him, or might maybe had a little bit too much brake bias in. Was a little cautious about laying on the brakes, so he started to brake a little early, where the 16 came flying in, actually passed him, and he made up a ton of time. I mean, he actually passed him on the entrance to pit road, between the track and the entrance, so right there on the apron. 16 made up a ton of time, and that's why you see him all over the back end of the 00.
Yeah, actually, it's no longer the 16 behind that 00. It's actually the 2 of Byron Jones, who just completed that pass. Yeah, looking at the who pitted where, you got Pacey and Byron both pitted on lap 25. Kyle pitted on lap 26 along with Meredith, and I have to say, nobody really gained anything other than Kyle Taub. He seemed to make up the most time with that, even though he's starting to lose a little bit now. Meredith, when he went into the pits, he was about a second behind Pacey. Currently, he's fallen back a little bit to where he's like 2 seconds back. Now, is that because Pacey's pushing it? Or is, he just, made a mistake somewhere? But I think right now, if I'm Pacey and Byron, being the fact that I pitted at least 1 lap earlier than these other guys in the top 5, I want to back it down a little bit, run a little bit slower, save something for the end. Because like I said, at the end of that first stint, Pacey was driving in a little too deep, and that was, 1, burning up his tires, and 2, costing his time to Zach Meredith. And I'm sure Meredith knew that, and I'm sure he's going to try to pull the same strategy at the end of this. So yeah, Kurt, we got, what do we got? About 16 laps. It's coming to 51. They're going to throw the caution. So, who do you think is going to win this first stage?
I mean, I'm going to go with Pacey. I think the way that the stages are set up, Pacey and Byron are on the right page in my book, from what I'm looking at. They're going out hard. They're getting out the lead. They're getting separation. Now, Byron's going to have to fend off Kyle Taub, Zach Meredith, and Chris Murphy, but Pacey's out a good second and a half over Byron and the rest of the group. Even if his tires start to slip a little bit, I mean, he ran 25, 26 the first time, or 25 the first time. He only has to run 25 this time, and they were behind him by a second. So if he continues to do what he did in the first half of the first stage, I don't see anybody catching him by the end of the first stage. So I think this is Pacey's stage to lose. All he has to do is continue to do what he does or been doing. Byron, I think, is going to have to work a little bit harder because he's on one lap older tires than the guys who are a little bit behind him, but they're all over the back of him from where we're looking at. I mean, you're looking at Byron right now with Kyle Taub sitting right behind him. If I go to the rear chase, you can see the cars lined up behind him. Kyle Taub, Zach Meredith, and Chris Murphy, all of these guys pitted together, and they're all lined up, but Byron's leading the group. Now, once the tires get old, can they make the pass on Byron? That's going to be the question. Will he hold him down? Will he, give up the bottom? Is he able to hold that bottom line on older tires? You see Taub already trying to look underneath him. Byron's giving about a half of a car to the bottom line. Does Kyle stick his nose in there before Byron gets down to the line? Byron's kind of arcing it down to the bottom, and Kyle's kind of diving it down a little bit earlier. Does he get his nose in there and mess this up for Byron? I think it's a little early to do that. I think you go with what you got. It's only the first stage. You're only going to miss out on, 1 or 2 points from not winning the stage or not finishing second if you're Kyle Taub. But Kyle and Dohar were your most stage point gainers throughout the season. Those two, pointed their way completely, but obviously Dohar won 4 races. And there's Taub. Like I said, he stuck his nose in there a little bit early, got Byron out off the bottom, and now he's on the bottom below him. But Byron's got the momentum, and Byron crashes into the wall, gets a little bit of damage there, and I think that was just on the older tires sliding up the track.
Yeah, Byron's really being ultra aggressive, trying to hold the 16 and others behind him. Now you see him absolutely pinching that 16 down, disallowing him to really get back on the throttle, let the car wash up track, scrubbing off the least amount of speed. And now there's Zach Meredith underneath the left rear of the 2 as well. 2 still trying to fight hard, hoping that maybe a caution will come out and they'll be able to retain at least second or third. I talked to Byron the other day, and he's very, very hungry. He's actually been somewhat disappointed about how some of these races have ended for him as of late. Getting wrecked out and having just some bad luck and getting caught up in other people's issues or mistakes. And we hear that in every single club, community, or league that we broadcast for. Nobody likes to get caught up in somebody else's mess. But that damage to the right front is going to be somewhat significant for the 2. It's actually crinkled it up pretty bad. That car's got to be pretty tight. Shad, how would that car feel with that right front buckled like that?
Taking a look at it, I mean, yeah, it does have a little bit. You can see the crease where it came apart. I don't think that's what's affecting him right now. I think what's affecting him most is the fact that he wore his tires off already. And actually, when I was watching the in-car when Taub was underneath him. Byron Jones was actually shifting down to 4th gear in the turns. So he's trying to do everything he can to get that car to rotate through the center. Problem is, though, when you're in 4th gear going through these turns, the exits are extremely, extremely loose. And that's kind of what happened to him right there. As you see the 17 actually get up there and put a little donut on the side of Byron's car. But yeah, back to my point, I think Byron has just wore his stuff off already. And Kyle Taub and Meredith being behind him, they kind of just paced him and were able to save it. And it looks like Kyle Taub actually is making pretty good ground right now on Pacey. But unfortunately, he's got 6 laps to try to make up over a second, and I don't think that's going to be enough time to do it.
Yeah, Pete, I would take a look back to 4th place. That 78 has shown up in the end of this stage, and he's somebody that you don't want to see at the front of these packs. Kyle Taub, I would say Dohar's probably the biggest one competing with Kyle Taub. I mean, there's been some wins from guys and things like that, but Kyle Taub pointed, a ton of points to get that regular season championship. Dohar missed a couple races at the beginning of the season because he was not part of the league, and then missed a race due to a family emergency. and he still almost caught him. With 4 wins, he got the most stage points, and he's definitely a competitor for Kyle Taub. But, I mean, there's others there. All of these playoff drivers have consistently finished in the top 10. Zach Meredith has 2 wins, but he won those early in the season. He has not won since, so he's very hungry, looking for that 3rd win of the season. Chris Murphy has 0 wins. Byron Jones has 0 wins. Both of them are very, very hungry for that 1st win of the season, and both are playoff drivers. Could you make it any easier on yourself as a driver winning the very first race of the playoffs, knowing that automatically puts you into the Final Four for the championship race at the end of the season at Kansas? That's probably the easiest way to do it. Not even have to worry about going to the next race at Dover, not having to worry about going to Talladega, which we all know is that all, anything could happen track. That track has notoriously taking out drivers that expected to, be fast at the end of the race or win that race, and it's just not happened. But I've got to tell you also, you said it wasn't going to be possible, Shatter. You didn't think it was possible, but Kyle Taub made the pass on Pacey. Pacey has burned off his stuff, and Kyle Taub has made that pass with 2 laps to go in the stage and has actually gapped Pacey already by a half second, and Pacey's starting to slip back to Byron Jones and Zach Meredith and Tyler Dohar and Chris Murphy. So Pacey's about to have his hands full with the rest of these guys, and I hate to tell the rest of everybody that's watching, Byron, even with that damage, is running 4/10 faster than Pacey is and 2/10 faster than the leader Kyle Taub.
Yeah, I'd like to retract my previous statement. I honestly did not think he would have enough time, but I didn't realize that Pacey had just completely shredded his tires, and Taub, being able to follow Byron Jones there for quite a few laps, was able to get out of the gas earlier coming into the turns, and he saved his tires. And I think Pacey might want to take a little note of this for the next stage and, realize like, hey, yeah, I can go out for the first few laps and maybe burn them up, but I better start saving them after that because, like you said, he's under threat. Even though Byron has that crinkle on the right side of his car, he's under threat right now for 2nd place as we're coming to the end of stage 1.
Yeah, they're going to come out through turn 3 and 4. We're going to come to the end of lap 50, and we're going to get the end of stage 1 as the caution will be flying. Kyle Taub is going to be your winner of stage 1. Mike Campbell III making it interesting there at the end, trying to stay on the lead lap. Unfortunately, trying to stay 1 lap down. Unfortunately, does not stay 1 lap down. And Kyle Taub, like I said, will be your stage 1 winner. We will bring him up into the booth here shortly. But the rest of the top 5 is going to look like Byron Jones takes 2nd place. That's a good start for him, Pete, here in the playoffs. Pacey Wygant falls back to 3rd. Zach Meredith 4th. And Tyler Dohar gets that last all-important stage point of finishing 5th. The rest of your top 10 is Chris Murphy, Jose Ruiz, Ryan McCall, Nate Lehman, Cole Snyder will round out your top 10. The top 9 are playoff drivers. The only playoff driver that is not in the top 10 is that 5 car that we saw wreck coming off of the first lap of turn 2 that went to the inside wall and then exited the race with his damage. The top 9 is all playoff drivers. That's how close these drivers have been battling out this season, Pete.
I tell you what, I know you heard me with that ooh at the very end there. Man, I tell you what, Byron Jones pulled to the outside of Pacey, and it was a drag race to the line to finish stage number 1. Phenomenal pull to the outside, great race, way to get back on the throttle. Those two were fighting door to door, but I tell you, I'm impressed with everybody so far tonight, and man, it's been a phenomenal race so far, guys.
My question is, Chad, if you're Byron, do you stay in the pits and fix this damage? It didn't seem to hinder you that much. Do you stay in and fix that extra couple seconds and lose that all-important placement on track when they come out to start this next stage?
Judging on the pace that he has in that thing, or has in the car tonight, yeah, I fix it. Because if you scrape it again, you run into the risk of maybe damaging your arm, and you could have, instead of maybe 30 seconds or 25 seconds worth of damage, you might have over a few minutes if that arm gets broke on the suspension. So I fix it. You got 50 laps to try to work your way back up. You've already shown that you have pretty good long run speed. So yeah, I stay in the pits and fix it if it's me, and I think that's what he's doing. So
Yep.
All right.
yeah.
Well, let's grab our Stage 1 winner, Kyle Todd, bring him up into the booth. Kyle, you got a copy of this of SWATs, Pete, and Chad up in the booth.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, you just won Stage 1 of the first race of the playoffs. You looked really, really good, dude. I'm loving the paint scheme you got out there for KT Designs with the white and pink with the Air Force logo on it. What was the advantage that you found there in the second half of that first stage? As the first half, Pacey kind of ran away with that until you guys all started pitting.
That first half of the run kind of showed what kind of long run pace that we had, and I had confidence in it to go get the job done to win the stage.
Alex, Pete, I'm actually really loving that paint scheme. Being a veteran of the U.S. Air Force, it kind of looks like an old Dale Jr. AC Delco car mixed in with a little bit of pink. Looks like the same blue, same shade of white. Loving the pink numbers, man. Way to throw that all together. Car looks phenomenal, and it looks phenomenally fast as well, sir.
Thank you, Pete.
Yeah, he's Kyle. It's Chad. Yeah, it showed right there. Pacey went out there, pulled a second and a half, 2-second gap on all you guys, and I didn't think you would have the time to run him down after you got by Byron, but obviously Pacey just shredded his tires. So, is there any more saving that you can do to maybe improve your long run speed even more? And then also, what kind of fuel mileage are you guys getting?
Fuel mileage is about 40 to 45 laps, roughly.
Okay.
And in terms of what I could do to improve, I mean, anything. There's always room for improvement. So.
Right on, man. Well, you got a rocket ship right now.
Thank you, Chad.
All right, Kyle, I'll send you back down to your teammates. Good luck in the second stage. Like I said, you're obviously one of the fastest on track. You have a very good strategy, and your car is on rails. So good luck bringing that white and blue pink Air Force car to the victory lane if you can get through these next stages.
All right. Thank you, Kurt.
Real men drive pink, Kurt. I tell you. There you go.
Pete, with that Air Force logo on there, is that an F-16?
It's an F pink team. Okay. No, bad joke.
Anybody else notice these guys coming down twice? Are they trying to top off
With what Kyle just said, I would have to say, the first thing that came to my mind when he said 40 to 45 laps, the plot thickens. And yeah, I'm imagining everybody coming on down pit road. Nobody was kind of lost on the fact that they were able to go 40 to 45 laps. So if you figure, we got some really, really good guys in here that know how to save fuel. Obviously, Dohar's name comes first to mind. But with how much you're out of the throttle between 3 and 4 to make sure you're able to get back in and stay off that wall as it approaches pretty quickly, they're going to be saving. So if they can go 40 to 45, I have a little bit left in the bank. The only thing is, will somebody with new tires be able to come on down and capitalize on somebody that stays out?
I think the guys that are going to be sitting back and serving to get that 45. I mean, we got 45 laps to go in the stage now before we even go green. So if the limit is 45, they've got a lap here to kind of conserve. They have to conserve maybe a little bit through the first 5 laps, 10 laps to conserve a little bit, and they're going to be in the draft, so that's going to help them too. They're going to be conserving tire as well to try to have that long run speed like Todd was just telling us. So I think the guys that stayed out are going to be the ones that are going to be in trouble because I don't see any of the guys staying out being able to conserve that amount of fuel.
Well, going back green, here we go. 40 of Elric George and the 88 of Mike Allen. They were your top two, but it looks like 78 of Tyler Dohar able to really get on that loud pedal. 88 kind of might have been caught a little sleeping on or a little asleep, I should say, on that high line, as now he's got Mike Pop Bear Campbell to his inside. Elric George a little loose coming down the backstretch.
Elric George got real loose there.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it looked like Michael Allen definitely got caught sleeping there a little bit on that restart. I don't think he was listening to the motor of Elric George, but yeah, Dohar did not elect to come down with everybody else, and we all know he's going to clutch it. He may be able to save it. There was only one extra lap. And you know, I gotta say I'm happy to see that 88 up there. You know, at least for now, in second place. And other big news was Pacey beat Kyle Taub off of pit road, so he actually got to start in front of him. And we'll have to see if he's learned his lesson about maybe saving tires.
Pete and Chad, I'm not hearing Dohar clutch at all. He's out here in the lead. He is letting off, which you tend to do at Charlotte, but I am not hearing him clutch at all. We did have 4 laps there under caution. They're going to have about 44, 45 laps to run. If the fuel run already was 40 to 45, all he has to do is back it off a little bit. He was getting loose coming out of the corners, touches the wall just a little bit. I don't think that's going to do too much to his car. But the guys that did come down that extra pit stop, they're not going to have to conserve, apparently, because if Dohar's not clutching it, which we've known him and seen him be the conservative type that just sits back and can clutch and save fuel, if he's not doing it, then he's not worried. That to me tells me that the guys that just pitted, they've got enough to finish. So they need to get up here and catch Dohar as quickly as possible, because the first guy that pitted is Pacey, and he is 2 seconds back.
Yeah, I think I got a little information on what Dohar's hoping for is. Obviously, this is going to be a full max fuel run. And obviously with the tires at 40, 45 laps, you're going to be out of the throttle a ton more than what you are right now. And obviously when you're out of the throttle, you're burning less fuel. So he may have it figured out to where, he already knows, like, hey, it's only 1 lap and I'm going to be out of, the throttle a ton when I get to the later end of this run. So hopefully his sim apps has accounted for that, and his judgment's right. But yeah, to your point, the rest of those guys I think are going to be just fine.
It'll be interesting. We were talking about Pacey and everybody else that were up. Kyle Taub and Byron Jones and everybody else that were up front, really wearing out their tires, racing it really, really hard. Meanwhile, Dohar was just kind of back there, conserving his stuff, able to work his way up to grab fifth in stage number 1, grab stage points for stage number 1. Was he back there just kind of preparing for what he knew was going to be this long run? Again, he thinks ahead of what's going to happen. He's not reacting like right there at the moment. So I think what Dohar was doing was taking what he needed to run for this second stage to be up there, and this is everybody else's worst nightmare, because now they got to worry about trying to catch Dohar, and so far he's already got a 1.8 second lead on the rest of the field.
Yeah, and I got to point out also, something happened on that caution, because I know what it is. It's because all the guys came down a second time, but I was wondering how Mike Campbell III is up here battling with the top 5 guys. He is currently 2 laps down, but he is currently battling with Pacey Jose, Jeff Ludnam, and Zach Meredith and Nate Lehman there. So I was kind of confused on how he was up here, but that was because all those guys on the lead lap decided to come down a second time. So it moved the lap time car up to the top 5, and they all got the end of the line starting for that second stage. But I don't know what happened to Taub and Byron, but they slipped back. They're battling back in 11th and 12th, and they started up here with Pacey and Jose and Jeff Ludnam, but they slipped all the way back. So I don't know if it's, we heard Byron last week say, I saved too much. I didn't realize what was going on with the sim apps. Is that happening again with him and Kyle Taub, or did they have a slip? We saw Elrich, who started on the top spot for this stage. He slipped coming out of 2, just like Hunter Peach did, and went all the way to the back of this line. He's at the back of Kyle Taub right now, sitting 13th. So did they have a slip, or are they conserving? And if they are, I would hope that Byron was listening to this, and I would tell him, do not conserve, go. Because last week we saved way too much, and he finished 3rd.
Well, I'm sitting here looking at the lap times. Dohar is consistently running about 4 tenths faster than the entire rest of the field, except for maybe Mike Allen. Mike Allen was closer for a few laps, but I actually think I know what's Kyle Taub and Byron Jones, and I think I know what they're doing because I do the same exact thing, and it's I'll let you guys go. I'll see you in 20 laps. And I think that's what they're doing. They're saving their tires, knowing it's going to be a long run. And I, I think, I think Tyler Dohar is going to try to make a pit stop in this because he is not saving tires. And at the pace he was running to start this stint, in about 20 laps, he's going to not be in first place anymore because his tires are going to be gone. So I almost feel like he's trying to get out to a big enough lead, make a pit stop, and run these guys back down.
I mean, Shad and P, I did this a couple weeks ago, and I hate to do it again, but there's no way he can take a pit stop and still win the stage, is there? I mean, I know I was wrong a couple weeks ago, and Shad, you pointed it out super quick as soon as Tyler was doing it. Pete, last week you were pointing out what Tyler was doing with clutching it and everything else. There's no way in my mind that he is able to get out to a big enough lead to pit and then come back on 4 tires and fuel with the rest of the field staying out on this long run. If they're able to go the entire distance to the second stage without pitting, even on fresh tires, there's no way he comes back through this field, is there?
No, I would say no, because that's what you just said there at the end, coming back through the field. That means he would have to navigate his way around some slower cars. Yeah, you can kind of dive it in, on the low side if the car stays high for you. That's if they move out of your way. Because if he goes down, more than likely he's going to be very, very close to being a lap down, or he will have gone a lap down, and that's going to put even a little bit more of a rush on working his way back through traffic. I don't believe he can go down, even if it's just taking right sides and topping it off. It's still, you got to get down to pit road speed. You got to work your way all the way down to your pits. You got to get into your box, not slide it and not cut it short. And then make your way off pit road without speeding. So you got to be aggressive. You got to be cautious, and then you have to be aggressive again, and then work your way through the field. I just think that's too much.
Well,
I saw Mike Allen slip too. He's all the way back. We see him now in 10th, but yeah, he had a slip there and went back through the field. But the rest of these guys, I mean, they're sitting 4 seconds back, and they're not really gaining on Tyler. And I mean, we're 72 laps into the race. We've got another, what is that, 28 laps before the end of the stage. I just don't know, Shad. There's no way he can pit and come back through the field. I know he's going to probably prove me wrong again, but I feel like this time I'm even more confident in saying there's no way he pits and comes back through this field.
Well, remember how I said Dohar was running about 4/10 faster than the rest of the field only a matter of 5-6 laps ago? Now they're running identical lap times. So that only goes to show you if Dohar isn't planning on pitting, his tires are already burned up to where these guys are going to start gapping him. I know on the previous lap before this last one, Pacey was actually about 2/10 faster than Dohar. So if he's not pitting, I don't think his lead's going to last because I think his tires are going to be gone here in the next 10-15 laps to where they're going to really start chewing up chunks of his tires or his time, unless he does something I've never seen before, and that's run that kind of pace and still have tires at the end of a run. So
he does have that special equipment now. So, I mean, does that give him a little bit more of an advantage with being able to know how his car's feeling, feel the tires a little bit more than these guys do who are on regular equipment with the TMXs and the other wheels that you can buy? He has, some of the more expensive equipment. Does that give him a little bit more of an advantage knowing what can go on with his equipment?
I don't know. I don't know. I've seen when the real life NASCAR drivers were on there during the whole Corona crap. I seen some of them with like the Kyle Busch rig that cost $25,000 and Denny Hamlin's rig, but then I also seen guys like Garrett Smithley that are driving the same rig that I have. That's a $300 rig. So, and Garrett Smithley's won a ton of races on iRacing, and is considered one of the better iRacers that drives real life NASCAR. So, I don't know the equipment? Does a $700 driver make you any better on the golf course?
I mean, it might. I mean, I not for me because I have pretty expensive golf clubs and I still shank left and swing right and pick my ball out of the woods and out of the creek. So it doesn't help me, but I don't know. I mean, Tyler's been a long-time professional, sim racer where he's been in the pro league. He's now on iRacing and he wins a lot. He's got pro setups from Elite Industries. He's got, help from actual NASCAR people. He's got what is his name? Was it
Mike
Blaine?
Conti.
Well, I was thinking of Cox, but yeah, I mean, he's got all those people that can help him with stuff. I don't know. I don't think he can do it. He's got about a 5-second lead. He's gained another 1.5 seconds over Pacey.
And he is clutching.
I don't see it. I don't understand it. I don't know how he's able to do the things he's able to do. He proves me wrong week in and week out when I say there's no way he's able to do something, and then he does it. But it's just happening so quickly. Every time I look at it, I'm like, there's no way he can do it, and then he does it. So he makes me a believer every week when he does this type of stuff. But looking back through the rest of the field, Pacey's still leading this second pack that's back here, but Kyle Taub has separated himself along with Nate Lehman from that third pack, and they are now closing in on Pacey, who we saw earlier run really hard to try to catch people or try to get away from the pack and then got ran down. And Nate Lehman's looking underneath him right now. Jeff Lednam, who is also part of this pack, just scraped the wall a little bit. He's fallen off this pack just a little bit. But Pacey's going to wind up losing second, and I think he's going to wind up losing third here to Kyle Taub pretty quickly, too. I just don't know if Nate or Kyle Taub can catch Dohar, who is now 4.5 seconds out in front of these guys with 20 laps to go in this stage.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. Now Tyler Dohar 4.6 ahead of Nate. I just think that's too much of a gap to try to make up in now 19 laps since Tyler Dohar just went across that start stripe. 4.5 seconds to Nate Lehman. Between Nate Lehman and Pacey White, just another couple tenths. Kyle Taub about 0.5 second back, and then Chris Murphy a good second plus behind the 16 of Taub. So they're swapping positions, and yeah, you're 100% right there. Swats Pacey just lost third. He's back to fourth now in that double O.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering who else is sitting back here in the third pack that has not started going yet. With 18 laps to go, do they start going now? Chris Murphy was kind of conserving before. Byron Jones was conserving. Ryan McCall was conserving. Do these guys start closing in and get going? The other thing I'm noticing is Zach Meredith is right in front of this second pair group, and he is actually 3 laps down, so not sure what happened to him.
There you go. There's your answer.
See, now, does Dohar actually think these guys can't make it? You and I both know Dohar is a strategic man. There's no not thinking 10, 20, 30, 40 laps ahead for Dohar. He had to have known he wasn't able to make an entire run. Was he just expecting a caution, or was he thinking these guys there's no way they're making it as well, and they're going to run out and he's going to be able to run down on new tires?
Well, remember that race where Tim Harvick got found cheating and he was letting off at basically the start stripe?
Texas,
Yeah, I'm watching Nate Lehman. He's letting off of the gas and clutching it almost at the end of pit road, and he's out of he doesn't turn it back on for quite a while in most of these turns. And he was one of those cars that came down that extra lap. And I've been riding on board with him for quite a while now. He's been clutching it for quite a while. And Nate Lehman has proven to be one of the guys that can also stretch tires and stretch fuel. So I think right now, if you're running this strategy and you're still clutching it, your bet is made. And my only thing with Dohar is if you knew you were going to be short and you ran out to that frantic pace, burned your tires up, and then started clutching it after, if you knew you weren't going to make it, why even clutch it? So
yeah, that's why I'm confused.
A little bit of a miscalculation by him. It happens. And another point, Kurt, with your shanks. Cheech Marin suggests that if you get drunk, you play better.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a few times that you, me, and a couple of the other guys go out, and you guys drink a lot more than I do, and it doesn't help the other guys that go. It might help you because you're actually really good at golf, but the other guys that we know, you and I both know, there's a guy that we go golfing with that starts drinking before we even get to the golf course, and by hole 8, he's usually throwing clubs or quitting. So I don't know if that works either.
Where have we had we've heard a story recently about throwing clubs, haven't we, Swats?
Yeah, I have heard a story recently about that. I don't know who that was, though.
Almendinger.
Yeah. That was when you and I were sitting at Charlotte Roval listening to Justin Haley going out with Almendinger, and he was talking about how Almendinger likes to golf and loves to golf, and by hole 8, he usually throws his club and then goes to the clubhouse, takes a nap, and then comes back out and finishes from hole 14 on. So he usually skips 9 through 13 by taking a nap, and usually comes back out for hole 14 and finishes off the round.
Yeah, you just mark yourself down as a par on those goals.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. So we saw with with Dohar going on down pit road, he was lapped. So now he's got to try to make up a full mile and a half plus, and he hasn't even caught the leader yet. He just got on by the 37. He's trying to catch up to the rest of these guys. Right now he's sitting behind the 24 of Cole Snyder. Cole, you know he's not going to let him go. Cole's going to try to retain the track position, or will he call me out on it and just let him go? Mike Campbell III, he's going to go ahead and pull high, let Dohar go. He's going to go ahead and split him, make it 3 wide.
Yeah, Dohar's actually unlapped himself. He is on the current lead lap, so he's on those fresh tires, and he is hauling the mail right now, trying to catch back up around, but he is about 3/4 of a lap behind the leader, Kyle Taub, who is right behind him with Cole Snyder right there. Cole Snyder is actually the first car on the lead lap that Kyle Taub could put a lap down here. And then you have Dohar, then you have Jose Ruiz, who both pitted. So Jose decided to pit about 5 laps before Tyler Dohar did, and you can see the gap that Dohar has right now to get to Jose. So if Jose can't get to the leader, I don't think Dohar can. But the question is can they creep back up through this top 10 to help themselves out? I don't think they can make the top 5 and get a stage point or any extra points on top of that, because we have 9 laps to go in this second stage. And like I said, there's still about a little over half a track behind Kyle Taub, Nate Lehman, and Pacey Wygant, who have about a 7-second gap to 4th place of Byron Jones right now.
Doing my Larry McReynolds math right now. Dohar just took 2 seconds that last lap. 9 laps to go, 2 seconds a lap, and he's eventually not going to get 2 seconds a lap because those tires will start to wear. He doesn't get there. So I think he should have pitted earlier. Should have split it in half. But watching these front 3, Kyle Taub's not clutching it. Nate Lehman and Pacey Wygant are letting off halfway down the straightaways. So does Kyle Taub have something figured out that the rest of these guys don't? Or is he pushing it and hoping for the best? And so I think right now, looking at Pacey and Nathan Lehman, it might be between these two for the stage win. I don't know, Pete, but don't forget Byron Jones is back there, 6.3. How well did he save those tires and fuel also?
Yeah, less than 7 full laps to go. We're going to come to 6 to go next time they get to the line. Kyle Taub leading by now under a second over Nate Lehman and Pacey Wygant. As you just said, that's going to be your top 3. Byron Jones not too far off. I don't think he's going to get there in these next 6 laps, but still good stage points for all these guys, and a big learning curve, or what could be a learning curve for Tyler Dohar. Or is he banking on one of these guys not saving enough, or maybe doing the math wrong? He's got 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods as he's been ripping through the field. Is he banking on one of these or more of these guys, running out of fuel, trying to stretch it?
Yeah, and I got to point out real quick, too, Mama Bear and M. Brundridge, whichever one of you put the link in the chat, please, if you could put that out there one more time. Everybody out there watching or listening, if you can click on that link that it will be in the chat, or if you want to scroll up a little bit, it was posted in the chat. That goes directly to the Christine Warriors link there, and you can donate to the cause for breast cancer. The fight that goes on with all these women trying to beat it. Obviously, we've got logos all over the place. Thank you, Repeat. We've got logos all over the place on cars. We've got Byron Jones with his T-shirts with 213 Sim Racing that says F Cancer. Everybody can fight. Everybody can have people behind them, but not everybody gets through it. So you want to try to donate to try to get rid of this whole thing, and we'll never have to worry about it again. So definitely go out there and go to that link, donate what you can, try to help even one person fight through this, help a family, keep their parents or keep their sister or keep a relative or friend or whoever it is that is fighting, keep them in this fight and give them all the tools and weapons that they can get. We definitely want everybody out there to bring awareness and try to go to that link and try to give as much as they can to help out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. One of the ladies came to work today with a bright pink shirt on, and in a bumper sticker style wording or font going across the back. It said "Save the Tatas." I thought that was absolutely hilarious. I haven't seen that since like a bumper sticker on a car a long time ago, and it goes so far. A lot of people try to make light and lighten the mood as much as they can. It's very, very serious. And man, definitely if you can give what you can, it's all for a great cause.
I know us guys, Save the Tatas is probably a big deal for us, but it's even a bigger deal for the women out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen cars painted up when we were in NNR. We've seen cars painted up and turned down for what. I've seen the paint schemes that we had going on. It was a couple seasons ago for I can't think of his name. The one that we were just talking about on Sunday, Pete, that has kind of disappeared and come back. His mom was battling breast cancer. And I know we did a big thing for that. Shadow, yeah. Everybody was out there, running. I ran a Save the Tatas paint scheme myself. So, I mean, there's so many people out there who are going through that fight, and we just want to stand behind them and, tell everybody we've got their backs. So, and Mama Bear out there saying, everybody get your mammograms.
Not to cut you off, Kurt, but we're coming to the end of stage 2, and it looks like Kyle Taub was able to save enough, and he's going to hang on to that first place.
Well, that's going to be his second stage win of the night. Nate Lehman, kind of in my opinion, going into this playoffs, he's kind of a dark horse. He was really, really fast in the Xfinity cars. He's usually really good in the trucks. He hasn't been that consistent this season in the next gens, but he's obviously got enough points to go to the playoffs. In my opinion, if he turns it on, he can figure out something in his next gens. He could be that car that comes out of the points because, with 3 races being the first 3 races of the playoffs, one winner from each one of those races could lock themselves into that 4th race, which is the championship race, if they're a playoff driver. Nate could come out here and steal one of these wins at one of these 3 tracks and lock himself in, and he was 10th in the points to get into the playoffs, or 9th. He was one of the last 2 to get into the playoffs based on points alone because he did not have a win this season. Pacey's sitting there with 1 win. He was, I think, 7th or 6th in the points. He could knock out a top 4 guy. Byron, he was 5th or 6th in the points right along with Pacey. He does not have a win. He could knock a guy out. That means one guy out of those first 3 races that could win a race that it's a playoff driver, one could point their way in. And that's the only way it's going to happen. So three drivers that are playoff drivers could win their way in. One guy could point their way in. Or a non-playoff driver could steal a win here, and we could have multiple guys fighting for points. But every point is going to matter. And Nate, is that guy that comes out of nowhere. I almost want to call him the Kevin Harvick because he's like the closer. We saw him a few weeks ago, Pete, where he got the pole and messed up and was trying to do something admin-wise and messed up and got a black flag or jumped the start. I can't remember what it was, and got sent to the back and had a black flag and then came all the way back through the field and finished second.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of people do some pretty amazing things. We were sitting at the Roval yesterday. We were talking about Chase Elliott, and a couple years ago where he went full bore into the heartbreak turn number 1, went all the way through the big old fluffy advertising pieces that they had on track, came back past the entire field and won the race. We've seen a lot of people do a lot of great things here on iRacing as well as over on console. I mean, you think about it, over the last 4 years, all the different races that we've covered, whether it was in the Cup Series, Truck Series, Xfinity, the Ground Pounders, whatever. How many great saves have we seen? How many great moves have we seen? It's so much fun to watch people show their skill.
Well, let's bring Kyle Taub up here real quick and talk to him about his Stage 2 win.
We did what, 46?
Kyle Taub, bringing you up to the booth here for Stage 2 winner. That 16 still on rails. You conserved enough tire. You're looking like the guy who has the best strategy out here. Were you concerned at all with what Dohar was doing? Did you think he was going to try to make it or anything like that? Or were you just worrying about yourself and worrying about sticking to your strategy?
I was more worried about sticking to my strategy there.
Well, the man of many words, Pete. You
You
got any more questions for him?
No, Kyle. Okay, so now we're gonna go back green. I believe it's gonna be about 96 to go. Is this gonna be just a one stopper for you, or are you gonna try to gonna come on down and grab those brand new? I can't talk tonight. Those brand new Eagle Feel Goods and try to go max speed.
I don't know, man. If we were to one stop this, it'd be even more of a challenge than it was just now in Stage 2.
I suggest 30-30-30.
There you go.
That's my suggestion, Kyle. Other than that thing's
Whoa.
freaking F16 running around there. So
It'd be 30,
Keep it up.
35.
I hate to rush you guys, but if I could get back to my team here,
Yep,
before
I'll send you
23,
back,
that'd be
Kyle.
great.
Good luck,
you,
and we'll see what we're doing here at the end of the race. All right,
Lights
so
on the pace car is still on. He just didn't want to talk to us.
I
How
think
rude.
he's planning on going down pit road and topping off. That's what I would guess that his entire group is going to do here. I would probably do the same thing. I mean, we just saw him do it in Stage 2. Why not go down, get a little bit more fuel, and be able to go a little bit longer in this stage? And they don't. Okay, never mind. Make a liar out of me. But, I mean, 30, 30, 35, that's probably what it's going to take here, Shad, with about 96, with about 95 to go when we go green. So they're going to be looking at 30, 30, 35, maybe 32, 32, 32, or 30, 32, or 32, 32, 31. But, I mean, that's within their windows for sure. We saw them go 40, 44, 45 right there. He said that was difficult. They had to save. I don't know what the strategy call here would be. I would probably try to go as far as I possibly could before I ran out and then figure it out from there. But you guys as drivers, Shad, you guys think, 2-3 stops ahead. Are you really thinking the 30, 30, 35 or the, any kind of breakdown of the 95 laps we're going to have?
I can tell you right now, I won HTO Old Atlanta race by doing 30, 30, 30. And a couple of other guys tried to do it once, or one stop, and it didn't work out for them. But I think with the pace they were running, with how much they were having to let off, if you try to do this on one stop, I think a guy that comes down and pits on lap 31, 32, and does that twice, the amount of speed he will be making up on those 20 laps that you're, on old tires. I really think it's something that might be a winning strategy, but you never know. A caution always throws a wrench in anybody's plan.
All right, people, we're back under green. Kyle Top taking the green for the third stage here. I'm going to swap out the stage thing here, but yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on for strategy. What would be your idea for strategy? I mean, if you were talking to Byron right now, one of your team drivers, what would you be giving him as advice?
Don't cut it in half. Yeah, I really like the whole idea of the 30-30-30. Come on out, do the best you can with what you got. Obviously, he's shown that he's got a pretty fast car, even with the little bit of damage that he had on the hood by now between the stages and whatnot. He's been able to fix that up, coming from about P13 up to P2 right now. Most of that under green flag racing during stage number 2. I think he's got a hot rod. He can get on up there. Right now, he's all over the back end of that 00.
I mean, Shad P, we saw 25 laps being run earlier by Pacey and Byron. They went out a little hard, ran the 25 laps, pitted, then ran the second half of those 25, 24 laps, and Pacey got ran down. Now you're talking about 30, 30, 35, 32, 32, 31, whatever, to try to finish this thing out. It's within their window by 5-6 laps. So I feel like that strategy is probably the better idea. The Dohar one that he just ran makes sense to me because Dohar just figured out what he could run on a full pace of about, what did he run? About 40, 35, somewhere around there. So to me, he just saw how far he got out in front of everybody before he pitted. He just figured out in stage 2 what he might need to do here in stage 3. We got Jeff London swerving all over the place back there from getting loose. But to me, these 3 up front know how hard they can push that car. The other guys have conserved and had those long runs. You guys are talking about some short runs here where they're not going to have to run the full fuel run. To me, they've already, ran basically what they'd be running here in the third stage is breakdowns. Wouldn't that give them the advantage over the guys who have conserved, fuel and tires? They don't know what they have for short runs, and what you guys are talking about are short runs for the most part here.
I can tell you. Well, go ahead, Pete.
No, go right ahead.
Well, I can tell you right now, riding on board, Kyle Taub, Nathan Lehman, Chris Murphy are clutching. They're one stopping.
That would probably be why he did not want to talk to us.
Yeah. It's funny how that happens. But I mean, we saw Dohar run it, and I agree with you, Shab, what you said earlier, where he should have probably pitted a little earlier than he did in that second stage if he was going to do what he did, and he shouldn't have clutched at all if he was going to do what he did. But I think he sees the full fuel run, or the full run here, the short sprint that Byron and Pacey are going to probably do here. The rest of the guys are sitting here clutching and conserving. If they're going to do it on one stop, like you said, Chad, that's 20 extra laps that they're going to have to find and conserve, through these 2 runs that they're going to essentially do with that one stop. The rest of the guys don't have to do that. They can full sprint, go all the way out, get out to a big lead, and then, run them down. But Dohar did not work his way through the field like he probably thought he was going to do. He only got up to, I believe, 8th or 9th, which didn't really work for him. But should he have pitted 10 laps earlier? Could he have then done it? I mean, we saw Jose. He pit 7 laps before Dohar did, and Dohar passed him.
Well, I have the answer. Is Pacey, Byron, and Dohar all in the same Discord right now?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. What did Dohar learn from doing what he did in that second? Oh, and there's
Ooh, caution out on track. I believe that's a 24 who was actually up here in the mix. Yeah, he was actually up here in the mix in the top 5. So we'll go back and take a look to see what happened to Cole Snyder in the 24 car. He's real slow on the bottom here, but we'll take a look back and see what we can find with Cole. I don't know what happened there, but we'll take a look at the replay. All right, so he's side by side Or no, he's actually out in front of Kyle Taub and Chris Murphy. So he's right behind Dohar. He's coming off of turn 4. He's fine. He's fine. Comes through the tri-oval. Goes through 1 and 2.
He comes up on the 37 and net codes and gets him loose.
The 37's behind him.
Are you on lap 114?
I don't know what lap I'm on. I'm in the replay. But yeah, he's already passed Jeff Lednam. He's actually on the front 3. He gets loose right there on 4. Tags the wall just a little bit. Swerves all over the place. Okay, here comes Jeff Lednam passing him. He stays on the bottom. Jeff's up top. Coming off of turn 2. Cole's going to probably slide up and does and goes right into the side. I don't call that net code. I call that slipping and going right up into the side of Jeff Lednam.
There's a gap between them, though.
Oh, well.
I mean, it should have been contact. I mean, it was going to be no matter what. But yeah, there's like 4 or 5 inches between the cars when he gets loose.
Great job by Cole keeping that 24 up by the wall, though.
Yeah, same with Jeff, too. Yeah. I mean, he might have only got a little bit of damage from the touch that Cole gave him, but Jeff didn't, spin the car out or nothing, and didn't look like he scraped the wall or anything either. He just got a little bit of damage when Cole slid up the track and touched him that Cole would probably be, I would think, sent to the end of the line right now because he brought out the caution.
So, yeah, back to what I was going to say. Those 3 that were out front with Pacey, Byron, and Dohar, they're all 3 in the same party. What Dohar learned in the second stage for Pacey and Byron is the fact that making 1 extra pit stop, he was able to go from a lap down to finishing that stage about 10 seconds back. So if he was to do that twice and make up another 16 seconds, considering that the final stage is double the second stage, he would be out front. And I think that's what he passed on to Pacey and Byron, and that's why the 3 of them were all out front running the same pace that they're, running. But now, of course, like I said, I shouldn't have said it, but the caution always throws a wrench in anybody's plans. So right now, we're going to be coming to maybe 81 laps to go. Now you got to run 40 and 41. I think you have to do that now at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we're all 84 to go. Cars are able to pit that lap. So, yeah, it'll probably be 82, 81 to go when we go green here. Yeah, so that sets you to the full fuel run.
Yep, 41 laps per. And you really just got to... If you can go 45 on the first run, just don't run it out of fuel. That way you have a little extra tire for that final run to the checkers, and see if they serve you.
Why don't we pull one of those drivers up here real quick? We'll pull Pacey.
Yeah, ask him if that was a strategy.
He's coming down pit road. Bunch of them are.
Pacey, we got you up here in the booth right now. We want to talk to you a little bit about your strategy, maybe, if you'll give it to us here. What was the idea there at the start of the third stage with you, Dohar, and Byron, all 3 being in the same chat? Are you guys communicating and working together kind of on strategy?
And
I hope Pacey can hear me. All right, we'll go grab. We grab Byron.
Yeah, you're his team owner. He ought to tell you.
Byron, we're bringing you up into the booth here to talk to you here for a minute. With you, Dohar, and Pacey all being in the same chat, kind of working together there, it looked like. What was the strategy there at the start of the third stage? Were you guys planning on doing more than 1 stop, as it looked like you guys were going all out there?
Yeah, just go fast is all we were planning, and the caution came out. That's mixing up our strategy just a little, but we're all planning to work together, see if we can't get ourselves to the end on 1 more stop.
All right, I'll tell you what, you got a few comments out there in chat about that really, really nice 213 Simware Deuce. Tell us about this livery and what it's all about, please.
Yeah, so 213 and I, we collabed together to make this F Cancer T-shirt, and with all profits that we sell off of 213 Simware of the shirts, they come in both pink and white. All profits are going straight toward the Susan G. Komen Foundation for Breast Cancer Research. So all shirts that we can sell, they come in everything from small to 2XL, 3XL, just depending on which color you'd like. And it's really huge. We've raised so much so far that the rate we're going, we should be making a ton and a big old donation to Susan G. Komen by the end of the month.
That's amazing. Well, most people can't walk, talk, and chew gum at the same time. Here you are, walking, talking, selling, and driving your rear end off. But we'll go ahead and get you back on down. Good luck. Go get them.
Thank you.
That was a quick caution break. I thought it was a few more laps there, but yeah, I don't. It started off a little quicker than I thought it was going to be, but Byron was able to give us that whole rundown on the shirts and everything. I mean, Mama Bear out there saying she loved the paint scheme. We definitely like the paint scheme as well. I like that Byron's doing everything he's doing with 213 Simware. I like the 213 Simware's offering up drivers to come in and design their own T-shirts and then able to do with what they want.
Oh, Pacey's hard in the wall. So is Dohar. Wow.
All right, well, big wreck
what
there.
happened there. 88 was in the wall first.
We'll take a look back here and see if we can figure out what was going on here.
Ouch.
Oh, 88 comes down on the 00.
All right, so watching it here as the 88 comes off of turn 4. Pacey's coming up really fast on the 88. Gets underneath him. The 88 comes down and just clips the 00, and the 00 has nothing he can do about it. 88 goes right in the wall. That turns the 00. That turns to 78. Two making some big moves there underneath. I'm going to back this up, and we'll go to Byron Jones' view of this. It was a pretty insane amount of moves he just made here, and I don't know if he got any damage from the 00.
That's a full send.
You see the car kick a little bit there both times as he went by the 88 and the 00. I don't see any damage on the car, Pete, but I mean, his car kicked sideways, so I don't know if that was just him trying to swerve around it or if that was, netcode getting into the side of his car. I can't see anything down the side of his car to even.
I think that was him on the wheel going to the left and then to the right, and at those speeds.
No, there is damage.
Him having to catch it a little bit.
He does have damage on that right side, so it definitely was. I don't see it from earlier because the damage on the right front's clean, so the right rear definitely has some damage on it. So he definitely clipped at least one, but I'm going to guess two. I'm going to guess he clipped the 88 and the 00 as they were spinning around on the outside wall. But, Shad and Pete, that resets the field again with another caution, and that also takes two playoff drivers, or three playoff drivers are going to be involved in that with Byron, Dohar, and Pacey that are all three going to have some damage. Pacey and Dohar now sitting on pit road. Are they going to be able to get this damage fixed? I'm not seeing how much damage they have or anything, so let's see if we can grab maybe Dohar. Hopefully he can keep it PG for us.
I think their nights are done.
Dohar, we got you up here in the booth trying to figure out how much damage you got there and how much time you're going to have to be on pit road.
I'm done. And I love you guys, but I'm just too fluffy to talk right now.
Yeah, I get it. I'll send you back down. Yeah, so that's going to be some major damage for the 78 and 00. Unfortunately, like I said, that's two of the top 6 playoff drivers. Dohar was leading the points. Actually, Pacey's coming back out. Dohar got more damage than Pacey did, and Pacey was kind of involved in the start of it with Mike Allen. So good circumstances for Pacey being able to get back out on track. I don't know how much damage he's going to have or engine trouble or anything like that, but at least he's going to be able to come back out and maybe gain a couple more positions here. But unfortunately for Dohar, that's going to end his night. Like he said, he's got too much damage to continue. So this is going to get kind of crazy with these playoff drivers, and we only got 4 or 3 races before we get to that championship to get in there.
Yeah, I don't know how Pacey is running because
Either.
he was head on into the wall, and that was after hitting it the first time. I honestly don't know. His front end looks like he drove straight into a telephone pole. But watching him ride around there, it's still got some speed in that thing. So, if we get a string of cautions and he gets it fixed, he might only be down a mile an hour or two. And, things can happen. I feel bad for Dohar, and, it's unfortunate, but, that's racing right there. It wasn't seeing the 00 is getting a EOL for that, but didn't look like it was the 00's fault in my eyes.
No, I don't. I don't know what the penalty was for that. We might have to try to grab Mike Campbell real quick. Mike, you got a copy of the Swats Pizza and Chad up in the booth.
Yes, sir.
All right, but just trying to figure out what's going on track. Seeing some penalties being handed out. What was the result of that review from you?
I seen that the 00 went up into the 88, so he just got an EOL to the back of the line, and we had to clear some penalties because there was some cars that was damaged and blown up, and so we had to get everybody situated here.
There you go.
All right. Well, yeah. I guess we'll have to talk about that one later. From our perspective here on the replay, it looked like the 88 actually came down on the 00, but you got more time to look at it and dissect it. So, but it's gonna be unfortunate.
It kind of went a little bit both ways, but it looked like the 88 was holding his line when the 00 went up.
Gotcha. Well, we'll send you back down to race control and see if we can get these cautions cleaned up from these guys. We've had a lot of green flag laps run tonight, and we've had a string of cautions in the last 10 or 15 laps here.
Right. Okay.
Later, Mike.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm I'm kind of in the same boat that you were looking at, Shad. I obviously we didn't have time to dissect it and slow it down or anything like that, but from what we were seeing, it looked like the 88 was coming down on the 00. But Mike's got the race control, and he's got it to be able to slow it down and look at it and figure out exactly where the cars were at on track as we go back green here with Chris Murphy leading with Jeff Lodum on the outside, Ryan McCall up front, John Osborne, new guys up front now with Kyle Topp sitting back in 5th. Can Chris Murphy steal one from these guys with about 75 laps to go now?
I really think he can. I tell you, Chris Murphy, he's been pretty fast in that 21 at several times throughout the season. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. Ryan McCall right now sitting P2 in that 48, up 12 spots on the night so far. A couple of big contenders took a lot of damage in that last wreck. Talk about the 00. It'll be interesting to see, Shad, to kind of your point, whether he's down on RPM and whether that Mustang holds together for these last, bunch of laps. We'll have to see, but so far, so good.
Pacey's car must be made out of titanium because watching Chris Murphy, who's our leader, his end of the straightaway speed is 186. Pacey's speed is 186. So somehow Pacey hit the wall twice, once head on, and the car's just as fast as it was before. So
now Pacey is on 4 tires. Chris did not pit that time for the caution. He's on 12-lap old tires, but Pacey does have those string of 9 or 8 cars out in front of him for the draft as well. I'm wondering what his speed will look like when he gets into clean air if he does get up to the front. That's where I would say then we have a real check on his speed. Right now, he's getting a lot of benefit of the draft. He's getting a lot of benefit, from the clean air and all the air that's being put on Chris Murphy. But the lap times are looking pretty close to each other. But like I said, he's got the advantage from the draft being, pulling him around. We've seen cars with
Yeah.
front ends missing that are running the same lap times as the leader.
That is true, but I'm watching him as he just passed the deuce of Byron Jones. They both had draft. Pacey pulled him on the straightaway. So, I don't know. If I was Pacey, I'd go rub my Lucky's rabbit foot or find the 4-leaf clover because right now he's got it somewhere in that car. Because anytime I've head on the wall, the engine blows up. So I don't even know how he's out there running.
Yeah, and he's on the lead lap. He never even went a lap down.
Yeah, I don't know how, Dohar did not look like he hit it as hard as Pacey. Dohar's night's done, and Pacey's car looks like it got, he ran straight onto the telephone pole, and it's out there still doing 186 on the straightaway. So, and it looks like it's handling pretty well too. So I don't know. I don't know how he got that lucky.
Hey, he's running the Roku car, so he's got that instant replay to wind it back to before Dan. I don't know. But
those old flashbacks, push X.
There you go. He hit that up, down, left, right, V8 start, and he's right back in the game again. Talking about the old Mike Tyson punch out or
the funny part is
codes,
only us old guys are gonna know that.
Yeah, I know.
If we go to Byron like we did with last week with Britney Spears, he's not gonna know what we're talking about.
Oh, I took it even further back.
Oh, I remember the Tyson Punch-Out. That was one of the first games that our dad got us on Nintendo. And I remember when we got to actually play it, he'd actually played it for a week or two before us. And within a week or so, we were beating him, and he quit playing with us.
There you go.
Yeah, but for that first week, I got knocked out a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he enjoyed beating up on us for that first week until we got figured out what we were doing. And then we kind of took it to him after that, and that's probably the last time he really played video games with us. He might have played a couple games after that, or whatever those other games were that you guys played, Chad, the dance thing or Dance Dance Revolution or whatever.
DDR, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, I mean, that was pretty much the end of his video game career. After that, he might have played some Duck Hunt or some Mario or something like that, but when it came to sports games and things like that, oh yeah, he did play Rock Band. But when it came to sports games, that was probably the last time he really played sports games with us. I think when we got Madden and things like that, he didn't want to play when he was getting beat 70-0.
You're supposed to respect your elders and let them win.
Yeah, that might be something different. It was pretty competitive. That's why, even with Shad, I look at him and I'm like, I could have a game for 6 months before him, like my dad tried to do, and Shad can get on there, and within, a couple weeks, he'll be beating me, and I'm like, all right, this sucks. So it's just some people pick him up faster than other people. Some people it takes a lot longer to learn, and even then, you still can't get as good as some of the guys that pick it up pretty quick, and Shad's definitely one of those that picks him up real quick.
Sounds like these iRacing drivers.
Yeah. That's why I'm not racing no more, and Shad is, so I can't do what he does. I can't do what these guys do that pick it up real quick, and I'm more of I just get out and do it for fun. These guys do it for competitiveness. 48's looking really good up there too with that Lowe's car. The 81's coming back. He ain't blinking as much anymore. I'm not seeing him blink at least.
No, I haven't seen him blink in a long time, and 14 gets loose, or maybe was avoiding contact with the 21 coming out of 2 there. 3 wide, Pacey, hold it down. I don't know. This will show old school. That 17 car? What do you guys think that car looks like?
17 car. Let me find him on track.
I think
to me it looks like the Greg Biffle.
Either Greg Biffle or old Kenny Schrader.
When I see that car, for some reason, I know it's not the same identical or even close to the same sponsor. For some reason, I see Musgrave.
Okay.
I don't know who was first though.
Oh, Musgrave was way before Biffle.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking Schrader from what he said.
Musgrave didn't drive that well. I don't know. Musgrave might have even been before Schrader. I don't know.
I mean, National Guard being on there with it being red, white, and blue.
And their GMAC.
Yeah, that to me is Greg Biffle. That's what I'm seeing. I just
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. The sponsors aren't the same, but when I first seen it, I was like, dang, that looks like Musgrave's car. That what was it, some TV or something, or whatever the sponsor was on that car. But you know, it had the blue front end and then the red in the back, and I don't know. I just always liked that car. I'm gonna have to make that paint scheme.
If you go to Cary, North Carolina, there's an automotive shop there called Franz Automotive, Frantz, I believe. Their entire waiting room is full of NASCAR stuff. Swatch, you should definitely go and check it out sometime. But up above the countertop, hanging all the way up by the wall, there's a stand up of Dale Jr., Dale Sr., and I believe Kenny Schrader, and there is the whole side of a car that looks very much like that pinned up against the wall. It's actually really, really cool.
definitely have to look out for that. But I mean, I can see the Schrader. I don't really see the Musgrave one, but I can't picture the Musgrave one either in my head right now. But like I said, I when I see it, I see Greg Biffle right off the bat. But
So
I can see the Ken
Musgrave
Schrader as
ran
well.
a family paint scheme that was blue with red and white stripes.
Huh. I don't even remember Musgrave running in a car, so.
Oh, I do, because I remember that paint scheme.
There you go.
But Kyle Taub has taken the lead back with Nate Lehman sitting second. Ryan McCall's now slipped to third. He was, trying to go out there full bore and put the pedal to the floor, and now these guys are coming through. We're 21 laps into their run currently. Chris Murphy's out there on 27-lap old tires. He's sitting fifth right now, but we've got 58 to go, so we're going to see a pit stop here. It's going to put it really close to that 40 mark to be able to finish this thing out. 18 more laps would put him at 39, 30 or 40. It's going to be close. So you're going to look at full fuel runs to finish this thing out if we do go green.
We can go back to green with like 75, 76.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like
They
70.
split it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could split it in half at 38. So everyone should be good on fuel unless they split it wrong. But I am not surprised to see that 16 up there. He showed in stage 1 and 2 to be good on the long run, and
Same with the 14.
Yeah, and with fuel not being an issue, he can go out there, run the pace that he knows he needs to run, 38 laps. He should have a good idea because he ran 45, in stage 2. So he knows the pace he kind of needs to run. He could actually run a little bit harder. So I think with, 76, I'm coming down 37, 38, somewhere around there. Because you definitely don't want to be the last person on fresh tires, I don't think.
Watching this,
Byron back
this little bit. Yep, I was just gonna say, yeah.
Go for it, Pete.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, a nice little battle back here between the 21, the 2, the 48, the 00 of Pacey Wygen. He's been able to creep his way back up inside the top 7, sitting behind the 21 on the high side. The 2 of Byron, it looks like he tried to get low underneath the 21. The 21's been able to just keep him pinched down there, kind of what we saw earlier between the 2 and the 17, except now the roles are reversed. Through the corner, Byron looks like he's able to get back on the throttle a little bit sooner. He's going to go ahead and take that spot, move up to P5, putting the 21 of Chris Murphy back to P6. Pacey Wygen, though, still running strong, down 6 spots from where he originally qualified. But, slapped that wall outside just a little bit, and that's going to allow Jose Ruiz to sneak on by.
Yeah, I think what Pacey needs right now is another caution to get that car completely fixed. I'm sure he's probably still got some damage time on that, and then now scraping the wall, he's probably got even more. So I think what he needs is that caution to fix more of that, because I think his car right now is probably struggling a little bit on the handling looking at it. Either that or he just burned off those fresh tires trying to make up spots. But yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with the 48 still being up there because, it seemed like when we started this, he got out to that lead and thought maybe he might have burned him up, but, he's still hanging strong in 4th place right now. And then Byron Jones on that long run showed he had the long run speed in the other, stages. So he's slowly working his way up. But does anyone have anything for that 16 curve? Only time will tell.
I will say this, though. First through, now Nate Lehman's slipping back a little bit. I was going to say first and second are teammates, and then you have 5th through 10th before Nate Lehman got back here. 5th through 10th are all in the same chat together. Byron Jones, Chris Murphy, Jeff Jones, Jeff Ludnam, Jose Ruiz, and Pacey Wygen. They're 6 cars deep with Ryan McCall in front of them. They can all communicate and work together. We heard Byron say earlier that him, Pacey, and Tyler Dohar were all trying to work together at the front there to try to make it and finish out the race. And then we had these string of cautions. But now Nate Lehman has slipped back to 5th, and he's actually about to lose another position to Jose Ruiz, who's battling him on the inside there for 6th. Chris Murphy's going to probably follow Jose Ruiz through. Like I said, they are all part of the same group together talking, and they're all trying to work through this field together. Pacey stuck on the back bumper of Chris Murphy as well, with Pacey Wygen going to try to hang on to this thing and hope that a caution comes out. I assume if they stay green and he goes down for a green flag stop, he is not going to try to fix any of that damage unless he has some required time from slapping that wall.
I think if he had required, it would give him a meatball, which means the black flag with the orange circle. We all that haven't ever been on iRacing. I think if he had required, it would make him come down and fix that. But yeah, he cannot fix any damage on there. It might fix a second during his pit stop, but other than that, he's just going to have to ride with what he's got. But either way, it's better than what could have happened to him because, in all honesty, he probably should have been wrecked out, but got fortunate.
Yeah, and I mean, while his car looks pretty bad, sometimes on iRacing they'll fix it up pretty good, and it'll still show damage to the car. Kind of what we saw with the Deuce of Byron Jones earlier. We saw a big old crinkle on the right front, but yet he's still being able to carry almost max speed as he's actually looking underneath the 48 right now. They are side by side. Talking about that 48, I actually went and visited with him just before this race kicked off. Wanted to pass along a big old congratulations. He ran one hell of a race last night in the Shake and Bake iRacing Cup Series in his Shaboom sponsored Camaro tonight. And he's running the Lowe's colors, but Ryan McCall is starting to turn some heads and some pretty bad fast laps as well.
Yeah, I want to pull up the.
Is that a spin-off of Kaboom?
Hey.
I want to pull up the tower real quick so everybody can see how many pink cars are in that top 7. Those are the playoff drivers that are listed out there. Wygen in the 8th position is also a playoff driver. So the pink numbered car, pink background car, or pink background name on that tower means that they are a playoff driver. And look at that top 7, Shad and Pete. It is stacked with, or top 8, sorry, with playoff drivers, including Pacey there. John Osborne, the only non-playoff driver in the top 8 currently, battling for these points. And we saw at the end of the stages they were loaded with playoff drivers as well. So these guys are, punching and scratching and fighting for every single point they can possibly get through the stages and this final stage of stage 3 for the finish points that they can grab. And actually, from what I just saw, it looked like Dohar just came back out on track. But he is currently 33 laps down. So if he can try to grab some more points here, if we get another caution, couple guys get knocked out of this race, he's got 45 laps to go. He's 33 laps down. But if anybody else gets knocked out of this race, that's position points that he could grab to continue through this playoffs. He's got 2 more races after this to try to win one of them. This one's going to set him back a little bit. He did have that plus 11 as I bring the standings back up. He had that plus 11 to start this playoff race, but obviously he's going to slip down this list. With Todd winning both stages, he's probably going to jump to the front. He's currently leading the race right now, so he's got that lead lap point. He might be able to get the most laps led as well, I would think. So that's probably going to bonus him all the way to the top. Zach Meredith still in this race, but he is currently sitting 12th one lap down, but he did have some decent runs there in the stages, but I don't think he collected any stage points. Jose Ruiz as well, I don't think he collected any stage points, but he is currently sitting 4th right now in the race. Hunter Peach is obviously going to drop all the way to the bottom with getting knocked out of the race within the first half lap. Pacey obviously got a good amount of stage points. He's currently sitting there in the 8th position, so he's trying to get a good finish for the night to try to stabilize his downfall through here with his wreck there with Mike Allen and Tyler Dohar. Byron Jones has done really well through the stages, and he is currently sitting 3rd again, Pete. If he finishes in the top 3 again, I think that's going to be like his 6th race of the season out of the 11 where he finished in the top 3. Ryan McCall, that we were just talking about, sitting there in 5th, he is currently sitting 10 points back. I don't think he got really any stage points as well. Chris Murphy led a lap, but I don't think he got any stage points. So these guys are all sitting here in the top 10. Nate Lehman still kind of trickling right there around top 7, but he did get a couple stage points in there. So this thing's going to get even tighter with all these guys getting it. I think the only one that's really going to benefit the most with Tyler Dohar getting knocked out of this race and going 33 laps down is going to be that 16 of Kyle Taub, who's going to separate himself even more. Plus, if he wins this race, he automatically locks himself in, so he can pretty much just sit back and wait for the championship race.
Yeah, Tyler Dohar, sitting P15 right now in that number 78. I mean, he's just got to try to complete a few more laps, get ahead of the 24 of Cole Snyder, pick up that one additional point. I think beyond that, that would be it as far as other drivers that he'd be able to leapfrog. But kudos to Dohar. I give a lot of credit to those guys that are all beaten and banged up and bruised, and come on back out and continue to run the race, grab as many points as they can, instead of saying, I'm done. There's nothing more I can do. It goes to show the competitive spirit of each and every one of these drivers that commits their night to the different clubs, leagues, and communities that we get the privilege of calling their races.
Byron Jones and Jose Ruiz are closing in on Kyle Taub.
Yep.
They're currently 3.5 seconds back, but they're running just a tick faster than Kyle Taub is. I mean, we're 41 laps in the run. You're going to expect pit stops here within the next lap or two, I would think, for all of these guys. As you're seeing some come down pit road. You've already seen a few come down pit road already. Chris Murphy's one of them. Jeff Jones, Jeff Ludnam's down pit road. Zach Meredith down pit road right now. Mike Campbell the third down pit road right now. So all of those guys are hitting pit road with 37 to go. They'll be good to go to the end of the race. My question is do you prepare yourself for maybe a green-white checker and try to run a few more laps? Is that maybe the idea that Taub and Byron and Jose are doing right now, or should Byron and Jose and maybe John Osborne try to sneak into pit road one lap before Kyle Taub and get that extra lap on that fresh rubber before he does?
I think, if there's a late race caution, everybody's going to come down and get tires, because if you're that one guy that says, I'm going to stay out, there's only, it's a green, white checker, everybody else behind you is going to pit, and you'll be a sitting duck up there. So I don't think they're worried too much about that. I think right now why these guys are staying out later than the 21, the 77, and I think a couple others that have already pitted, is I think they want those fresher tires towards the end. They'll give up some time right now. Like when, Chris Murphy pitted, he was 5.3 seconds behind Kyle Taub. So, if he comes out and he's running the second half 2 seconds faster lap, Kyle Taub's got like 3 laps that he can run longer. Now he's already done it. So now every lap that he keeps running and, Murphy's running, 2 seconds or a second and a half faster, he's going to have a lead. Problem is, Kyle Taub, when he comes out, he's going to be running faster and he's going to have the better tires the rest of the race. So I think that's what these guys are doing right now. But if I'm Byron Jones and he's coming down, you want to pit before Kyle Taub does and try to get that lead and or at least try to trim it down. That's what your driver's doing right now, Pete.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, he was super hot coming on down pit road. I don't know if he got a speeding penalty or not. It's going to be very, very close. We'll have to see if this 213simware.com Deuce ends up being held, or if he's going to grab 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods, fill it up with that Sunoco E15, and come on out. If he's got the luck of the pink on his side, he'll be able to jet on out. Right side's on, left side's going on right now. We'll have to see if this car drops and goes. He's away.
No penalty for him. Kyle Taub going to come down pit road this time with Jose Ruiz, Nate Lehman. That's going to put probably Chris Murphy out to the lead, but for how long, I don't know how long he's going to sit there because these guys on fresh tires are going to be coming. I think it was a great idea for Byron to come down 1 lap before Kyle, get out there and run, a little bit faster than Kyle, maybe trim that lead just a little bit. This should be the last stop of the race unless we have a caution towards the end of the race or something, but I think Byron maybe learned a little bit from last week and said, you know what, I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to sit here and, overthink it. I'm going to go now 1 lap before Kyle can and try to get out there and gain a little bit of time. I mean, Chris Murphy was making up almost a second and a half, almost 2 seconds on Kyle Taub after pitting, and Chris pitted 6 laps before Kyle Taub did, and right now Chris Murphy is out in front of Kyle Taub by about a half a turn. As they're going to be coming across the finish line here, we'll be able to see the separation gap that those 6 laps gave Chris Murphy there. But Kyle actually did come out in front of the 2 of Byron Jones by a good amount, and it looks like Kyle Taub is going to be about 4 seconds behind Chris Murphy. Byron Jones is going to be about another 3.5 seconds, 3 seconds behind Kyle Taub, and I don't know if he could do it. I think the best for that situation was Chris and Pacey, who pit a little bit before all of those guys did. Pacey pit 3 laps before Kyle Taub and 2 laps before Byron Jones. He pit 2 laps after Chris Murphy did, or 3 laps after Chris Murphy did. So I think he makes out the best on it, but I don't think he can make it in that position for the long run if we do have a long run, a long green flag run here.
Yeah, I hope Murphy is trying to conserve. 4.5 seconds. We've seen what Kyle Taub did to Pacey at the end of the first stage?
Yeah, 25 laps.
Yeah.
We got 30 to go.
Yeah, so, he was making up, 3-4 tenths a lap and ran him down. He's improved the gap now. Now it's up to 4.7. Does that mean he's pushing it? He's still out there running 30.5s, and he's got to go 29 more laps. I think if I'm him, I'm going to go back it down a little bit. Try to get in that 30.8 range, 30.9, and make Kyle Taub have to run faster than save mode to try to catch you and hope that his tires are burned up by the time he does. So if I could relay it to him, that's what I would do. So hopefully somebody's listening, but I would tell him, you got time. Back it down a little bit and save your tires.
The fastest car on track is Byron.
What's that?
Fastest car on the track right now is Byron, right behind Pacey and the 17 of Zach Meredith. He's running about a half second faster than Chris Murphy. He's running about 4 tenths faster than Kyle Taub.
That 5-lap pressure rubber, I mean, it's going to be great for now, but once that equalizes, it's not gonna mean much. If I'm Byron, I'm gonna back it down, get a little bit more of a race management feel to these closing 27 laps. I'm not gonna go as hard as I can. I just saw somebody go on up and tag the wall. I think it looks like it was the 40 of Elric George. And how about that Deuce able to sneak on by without getting any kind of damage, keeping right up again with that 00 and a 17. If I'm Byron, I'm going to stay right there in the draft of both of those guys. Let them pull me on up closer and closer to the lead. Looks like he's going to pull inside the 17, and 00 is going to duck on down with him.
Yeah, I'm looking at Murphy's lap times. He was running like 30.7s. Kyle Taub was running 30.6s. Last lap, they both ran at 30.8. If Murphy does that and can hang on to that, he wins the race. Byron last lap ran at 30.5. 3 tenths, and he's 5 seconds back over 25 laps. I don't think he gets there.
I don't think so.
So if I'm Murphy, I'm slowing it down just a tad. Try to keep it around that 4-second mark and make them have to burn their stuff trying to catch you. You got a big enough lead. And you only have, what are we, 25 laps, 24 coming in this time, or 23. So they're going to have to pick up the pace if they want to reel them in. So save your tires.
I mean, right now, Kyle Taub looks like he's kind of conserving. Pacey and Byron do not, and they are closing in on Kyle Taub, looking right now on the back bumper of Kyle Taub. Those two are working together. They are working in the same group together. Pacey, I mean, the things that he's able to do right now with his car is insane because, I mean, like you said earlier, Shad, with what he faced with hitting that wall and the damage that he got, he's still up here in the top 3 right now with Byron looking low, going to take the 3rd spot from him. Byron's the fastest car on track, but is he using too much? Kyle Taub looks to be conserving. Chris Murphy looks to be conserving, as they're all right around the same amount of time, even though Chris Murphy was just almost 6/10 slower than Kyle Taub and Pacey Wigen and Byron Jones. Byron Jones about even with Kyle Taub right now, but he is on the back bumper of him.
Yeah, I think Kyle seen his mirror was getting fuller with Byron and Pacey, and he decided to pick the pace up because he went from running 30.7s and 8s to dropped it down to a 30.5. And yeah, they took a couple big chunks out of Murphy's lead, but how much damage is he doing to those tires? And the fact that Byron Jones right now is pretty much pushing him to pick up the pace, and Byron's not letting him just sit there and save those tires. It's 2.2 right now. Murphy, if they catch him in the next 5 or 6 laps, how much are those tires now equal with them having to burn them up? So,
I think they catch Kyle pretty quickly. Murphy. I think they catch Murphy within the next 5 laps. As much as they're clicking off, I don't see Murphy being able to hang on to. I think they get to him and they pass him just like Kyle did with Pacey. My question is can Byron keep up with Taub, who was obviously conserving until he saw Byron and Pacey get to his back bumper, and now he's picked it up? Did he conserve enough to pull away from Byron and Pacey to where Byron can't keep up with him, but may be able to get another top 2?
Yeah, looking at the lead, yeah, they're going to catch Murphy in the next 3 or 4 laps. So right now, if I'm Murphy, I think you come to the realization that a win probably isn't going to happen based on the fact that their tires are just that much pressure, and they might have been saving them a little better than you. And I think I worry about Pacey, maybe trying to base my pace on where Pacey's at, and that way you can get a top 3 and join us in the booth.
Pete, if Byron finishes in the top 2 again, how frustrated is he going to be? I mean, the kid's finished second. It's got to be at least 4 times that I've seen him. He's finished second in the Truck Series multiple times this season. I mean, he's so close to breaking through that to get to the win. I know he's probably going to be frustrated. I know he's probably going to be, a little down about it, but you're still finishing second. You started 6th or 7th. If I can pull those standings up right now, he's sitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. 7th in the points. He's done well through the stages. He's doing well right now in the race. Taub just made the pass on Murphy, so Taub's now the new leader. Byron's now on the back bumper of Murphy. Byron's probably going to pass him, take over second. Pacey's probably going to pass Murphy and take over third. I don't know of anybody else that can maybe get to him. Jose Ruiz and Ryan McCall are coming up fast. Jose Ruiz is now catching Pacey. Does Jose Ruiz be able to sneak up here and maybe take away second place from Byron, and Byron finishes third 2 weeks in a row?
Well, Byron, if I'm him, I'm going to remember where I came from, where I'm at, and where I'm going. He used to run on a laptop that was barely able to run the iRacing specs, running, I wouldn't call him a back marker. He was about mid-pack. But ever since he got that brand new PC and has really been able to refine his racing abilities, he's gotten better. He's gotten faster. He's gotten cleaner. He's able to see more of the track. Used to be he was able to only see the track, the wall, and about 10 cars. That was it. Nothing in the outfield, nothing in the infield rather. None of the stands. No Nothing. Now he's got a full view of everything that he's got to deal with, and he's absolutely stepped up his game. So, yeah, he may be getting a bunch of seconds and a few thirds and whatnot, a whole bunch of top fives. But, man, it's just going to be a matter of time before Byron Jones and whether it's with the 2 and 3 SimWare colors on it, whether it's with Patriot Esports, whether it's a TJ's team car, whatever it is, Byron Jones, he's going to get up there, and once he does, I think those floodgates are going to open.
Got to mention Pacey slipped back. He got passed by Jose Ruiz. Pacey's now sitting 5th. At the end of the day, if Pacey can finish within the top 8, that to me is a huge win based on his crash. Like Shad, you said, his car, there's absolutely no way if any one of us would have done the same thing that we would have came right back out on the track without going a lap down and been able to stay up here in the top 10. To finish in the top 8, if he's able to do it, to me, I call that a win for the race. He collected some good stage points. He led a bunch of laps. He led a lap, so he got that bonus point. He got, I see that as a win. He's probably not going to see it as a win as a competitor, but I see that as a win as a broadcaster. Now, obviously, I'm a broadcaster, so I probably don't have the same instincts like you do with driving, but wouldn't you call that a win?
Oh, I'm counting my lucky stars and going to the gas station and buying 5 lottery tickets. Because I've never had it to where I hit the wall head on and didn't blow my motor. So how he did it, I have no idea. But yeah, I'm going to the store tonight and buying a lottery ticket or something. So yeah, I'd count it as, if I walked out here with top 5 after that, I'd be pretty dang happy because I didn't lose that many points. And I do believe Byron Jones has burned his tires off because he is just falling back. And I think before this is done, Jose is going to have something to say about second place.
Right now, it looks like Jose just lost the spot to the 21 of Chris Murphy. So actually, they're battling back and forth, Jose and Chris.
And Murphy clips the
Chris
wall.
Actually, yep. Chris went up and tagged that outside wall. That's going to break his momentum and allow the 45, Jose Ruiz, to pull just a little bit closer. But right now, between Byron and Jose, is just about a flat second.
He's
Cal
falling back to 7th now.
Yeah, I think his damage and his tires running as hard as he did are coming into play here. But Kyle Taub just ran 4/10 faster than Byron Jones. He just ran a 31.5 and then just topped it off with a 31.6. And Byron ran a 31.9. So
Jose just was 6 also.
Yeah, Jose is the fastest car on the track within the top 5 here. There's no way he catches Kyle Taub, but I think he can for sure catch Byron. Can he get by Byron? That's the question. Those two are in the same chat, like I said. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 7th, 8th, and 9th are all in a chat together. So I feel like they're probably communicating very well. But is Jose going to say, hey, Byron, I'm faster. I might be able to get to Kyle. And does Byron fall for that and let Jose by? Or does Byron say, dude, there's no way you're catching Kyle. I'm fighting for this position.
I don't know how much of a fight Byron's going to be able to put up. Jose's consistently running 3/10 faster. And on this kind of track, 3/10 is actually quite a bit. So I don't know, Pete. What are you telling your driver right now?
Stand in it. Do what you gotta do. Try to keep that 45 Texaco TRD machine behind you. Either way, whether Jose Ruiz gets on by the deuce or not, it's still going to be another great night by Byron and another great night for Jose. Jose in last night's race, he was the fastest in practice, but ultimately ended up getting caught up in a wreck. Looks like tonight he's on the rebound and about to score a pretty good finish here in the turn down for what iRacing Cup Series. Another good run for a man that's very, very consistent.
Yeah, with Kyle Taub out here, he's got about a 5-second lead over Byron and Jose, so Kyle can pretty much coast to the win here. we've seen him be fast from the start. I mean, he won stage 1, he won stage 2. He wasn't necessarily going out there and driving, standing up in the car like you said Byron should be doing right now. He was kind of conserving. He was real easy on the tires, real easy on the fuel. I think his biggest competitors tonight was going to be Pacey, Dohar, Byron, and Jose. And, I mean, to put it lightly, he took him to the woodshed. He figured it out. He conserved. He didn't, let those guys get in his head with them running fast laps and going out there and burning their stuff off. He ran his strategy. We asked him when we brought him up, and he had a short answer of, I'm just going to stay to my strategy. So, I mean, he was sticking to his guns, and he's going to come away with the first win of the playoffs, lock himself into the Final Four going into Kansas. He is your regular season points champion. Did it without a win, and he goes into the playoffs and gets his first win. Is this kind of like a – I mean, I keep hating to bring it up because I'm not a huge fan of his, but is this a Kevin Harvick moment? The dude pointed his way to a win or to a championship in the regular season. Now he gets his first win of the playoffs. We've got 2 more races coming up, Dover and Talladega. Talladega's a race that CCR has pretty much dominated all super speedways except for one in the last 4 or 5 seasons of Turn Down for What. Every driver in CCR has won at a super speedway or, won a race throughout a season. Is this a start of a trend? I mean, we go to Talladega and Zach Meredith will be dangerous. Cole Snyder will be dangerous. Kyle Taub will be dangerous. Nate Lehman will be dangerous. Those CCR guys, it's no joke when we look through the stats, P and Chad. The stats that Nate Lehman has put together with that Excel sheet, it's no joke when you look at it and see all the names that are posted next to Super Speedway wins.
Yeah, super speed. Yeah, absolutely. Super speedways, they are the great equalizer. Anybody can win. And not to knock the guy, but look at Mike McDowell, last year's 500 winner. I mean, he went up there in his Love's machine, was able to get it done. And we've seen a lot of Talladega and Daytona.
Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, I mean, look at Bubba Wallace. There you go. I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, you look at
Justin Haley.
Yeah.
Lightning storm takes out Kurt Busch.
Who's the guy that I'm sorry ran the 21 for the Wood Brothers a few years back, won the 500.
The young
Bain.
Yeah, Trevor Bain.
Yeah, Trevor Bain
Hasn't won since.
But that
driving.
Well, he drives in the Xfinity
anymore,
Series.
It's a great equalizer. It's basically about putting yourself in the best place at that final place. Talk about final lap. Here it is. It's going to be all about Kyle Taub, Jose Ruiz, and Byron Jones will be the top 3.
Yeah, I think this is to me, other than Dohar, because Dohar is just insane on so many tracks. I mean, 4 wins in like 8 races or 7 races or whatever it was that he's done this season. Other than him, the CCR guys are dangerous. Hunter Peach, Super Speedway win this season. Zach Meredith, 2 wins. Kyle Taub now gets a win. Cole Snyder is always dangerous at super speedways. Nate Lehman is dangerous on any track because he's, in my opinion, the dark horse of the playoffs, as he can come from anywhere and get a win. I don't know who can contend against Dohar with that whole group. But I mean, there's 5 or 6 of them, and Dohar's on his own, so he's kind of grouped up with the KS Gaming guys, with Pacey and Chris Murphy and Jeff Ludnam, to try to build a little bit of a team here for these super speedways.
Well, the 16's about ready to light them up, Swats.
All right, let's go to the burnout, and we'll be right back, and we'll go through the top 3. All right, we're back here for KS Gaming Broadcasting. Burnout Lane top 3 are coming into the booth. We're on Sim Racing Channel on Roku TV. We got Kyle Top coming up into the booth. We talked to him in the first stage and second stage. Kyle, you dominated this race, in my opinion, with winning the first 2 stages. You had a strategy from the start of the green flag being dropped in stage 1. We tried to talk to you a little bit about your strategy. You were kind of quick with us. I now understand what you were doing. With the third stage, though, I got to ask, with the 2 cautions that came out there, what, if anything, changed in your strategy when those 2 things came up?
I think initially there, the plan was for the entire CCR team to essentially one-stop the stage, save, I think it was like 6 or 7 laps each run, which we had just done 5 in the previous run, so we definitely could have made it work. But with those cautions coming out, it flipped the whole stage on its head and it made fuel irrelevant.
Kyle, after getting a pretty good win at the road course, now getting it done here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the old beast of the Southeast, shows that you can kind of get it done anywhere. Dohar didn't quite have the night that he wanted. You should be able to leapfrog him in the points, and this win automatically locks you into the championship race. How are you looking forward to the next few races, knowing that you really don't have to worry about much? Is it all just full send, or you still gonna points race and go for trophies?
I mean, I'm just gonna take it one race at a time here. We still got 2 more before we even get to the championship race, so it's definitely a bit of a relief that I got this win tonight in the first race of the playoffs. But I'm still gonna be going for wins. I don't know why I wouldn't.
My question, Kyle, to you after that performance, pretty dominating performance. I think the 2 cars that might have been able to give you a chance, other than Byron Jones, kind of got wrecked out. Other than Pacey, somehow his car looked like crap and still drove good. So, my question is, how much do you like your teammates? Are you trying to help your teammates maybe get into that Final 4?
Listen, if they're around me and they need the help, it'll always be given to them. Regardless of the situation. And Talladega, it's going to be a lot of helping the teammates there.
Yeah, Kyle.
Definitely.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you definitely made up a ton of points. Pretty sure you led the most laps easily on that. So, heck of a race, man.
Thank you, Shed.
Yeah, Kyle, with Dover now being swapped in from Montreal, that one to me is going to be the one that kind of throws a lot of people for a loop. I know you were one of the bigger pushers to keep Montreal or throw another road course in there. How confident are you going into Dover, knowing you don't have to win, but you can now go for the win without worrying about a finishing position?
Real quick, Kurt, it's Indy Oval.
Or Indy, sorry. Yeah. I don't know why I was thinking Dover.
I think Indy Oval might be a bit of a wild card race, even with it being a 2-mile speedway. Just the way it drives pretty differently than quite a few tracks that we go to. And then with these next gen cars on probably the old surface, it'd definitely be interesting. But I mean, even if I didn't get the win tonight, I'd be going for the win next week. Doesn't matter where I'm racing, what kind of situation I'm in. I'm going to be going for wins whenever I can.
Well, I know you said it doesn't matter on the situation, but I mean, it's got to be a relief knowing that you don't have to win that race. You don't have to have, a points night. You don't have to have a good finish. So does that kind of, in my mindset, that would take all of that off my shoulders and I could just throw caution to the wind and go for the win and not have to worry about anything else throughout that race. And with it being Indy, like you said, it's kind of a tricky tricky Indy. It's a tricky track to figure out. It's kind of flat, but it's long. It's got long straightaways for drafts, things like that. But a lot of guys have trouble with Indy. There are some that are pretty good at Indy. So, in my mindset, it takes it all off my shoulders, and I can just worry about just going out there and collecting a trophy, and I don't have to worry about nothing else.
Yeah, it's definitely a relief knowing that I can go into next week and, like you said, throw caution to the wind. But I don't want to break any kind of rhythm I'm currently in by doing something completely different next week. I've still got 2 more races to the end. If I were to break rhythm, it could cost me at that championship race.
That is definitely a good mindset to go into those races. You don't want to get off, your high horse that you're on right now with, getting this win, winning the regular season championship, pointing your way into that regular season championship without a win. And then you come out in the first race of the playoffs and you say, all right, I didn't win throughout the regular season, but I still won the championship for the regular season. And now I'll just clinch my way into the championship race. It goes to Kansas, which, I mean, that's a track that anybody could win on. It's a track that has multiple grooves. Talladega's that track that we always say is a flip of a coin. Even if you finish it, you do have a good group of teammates that, in my opinion, your group of teammates is one of the most dominant super speedway groups that I've ever seen from console to iRacing. You guys have dominated every single super speedway for the last 5 seasons, other than Atlanta Super Speedway, which technically isn't a super speedway, but is classified as a super speedway now. But other than that one, a member of CCR or a member of the militia or a member of whatever you want to call it has won a super speedway. So I see you being set up perfectly to go into Kansas. So congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the great points night, stage wins. Just continuing your dominance of collecting as many points as possible, which obviously got you the regular season championship. And now you are definitely well on your way to going for that championship. So congratulations on the night. Any shout outs, sponsors, friends, family, anybody at all?
Yeah, thanks, Kurt. But yeah, shout out to my buddies over at the militia. They've definitely kept supporting me throughout the entire season. It's been great being able to race with them for the entire season. The feedback that we've shared with each other has definitely helped us all improve as a group, for sure. And then shout out to you guys, Kurt, Pete, and Shad, for the amazing broadcast. And finally, a shout out to Mr. Papa Bear Campbell and Griff for making sure this next gen series runs.
All right, Pete and Chad, we're going to talk to our second place finisher, and that is going to be the one and only 45 Toyota driver of Jose Ruiz. Jose, you got a copy?
Yo, what's up?
Dude, you came out of nowhere. Like, the first and second stage, I saw you back there, right around 6th to 12th in that range, kind of battling with guys. And then here in this third stage, after that first pit stop, you just... I don't know if it was the strategy call when you pitted. I don't know if it was just a flip of a switch, because you seem to always come on late in a race. We don't see you come out and dominate a race from start to finish. You're always the guy that comes out of nowhere that just, is steady. You stick to your guns, you stick to your strategy, and it comes off and pays out for you. I mean, you worked yourself into the playoffs with the points. You got the one win early or middle of the season. And then tonight you have a great finish here for the first race of the playoffs. Set yourself up good in the points. I think you're for sure going to move up into the top 4 into the points with those next 2 races coming with Indy and Talladega as the kind of oddballs, or if you even finish those races with no fast repairs now and turn down for what. How did you do what you did tonight? And then what does this do for your confidence? What does this do for your strategies for the next 2 races?
Well, those first couple of stages, especially that first stage, I was babying the tires way too much. And I think when we came down to pit, I think my tires were still at like 88% on the right. So second stage, I'm like, I need to be a little more aggressive on here. And so obviously did not get any stage points, which is probably has been my downfall this season. I was keeping up with Kyle there for the regular season, but he just kept racking up stage points, and I just kept getting no stage points, especially the last couple races of the season. So I do just fix that. I mean, stage points important, but first I finished well. I just need stage points, so definitely have to work on that. But in traffic, I felt like I was stuck in line until maybe the last 15, 20 laps. But other than that, I was a little bit more aggressive in that last stage. Obviously, a couple of the, I think, guys who were going to finish ahead of me got wrecked out there. So I was fortunate to miss it. I think I went all the way to the left and to the apron. I was hoping I was going to not to wreck once I hit the apron. So, and luckily I didn't. But other than that, I've Indy Oval. I've never raced there. It's been a while since I've raced there, so I'm not sure how that's going to go. Hopefully, a good finish there. Talladega, that's luck of the draw. Usually, I'm up there up front and get wrecked at the end, or I'll wait too long and it's going to be too late to make a move. So, hopefully, I can survive those couple races, keep myself in the top 4 in points, and be there for the race at Kansas.
Well, Jose, I mean, Swat's about covered every possible thing that I could have or would have asked, but man, big congrats again for a great finish. You're definitely one of those guys that is getting better and better week in and week out, learning new things. You've also run in a couple of different leagues, and you're challenged each and every week by guys that are racing around you or guys that you're trying to run down. Different nights of the week. So big congrats, man. I've been a fan of yours for quite some time now. Yeah, moving on. And how much time do you think you'll actually be spending extra, going through Dover and preparing for Kansas and these other tracks that we've got left on the schedule?
You mean Indy?
Indy, yeah, there we go.
I usually don't practice outside of the hour we get before the race.
Pete, is that something we hear every single week from drivers?
It's got to be.
I mean, the guys that keep
Sounds like
finishing the
it.
top 3 always say, "Oh, I don't practice before we get to here."
I've tried before, but I feel like when I do the test sessions, it feels completely different. Once I get to like the actual practice session and then the race, is obviously different. So, I mean, it helps. It does help to see what the car is going to do after a while, but it's kind of hard to tell what without being in the actual lobby. But I mean, we'll see. I might practice, but I might just use a test session before the race to dial it in.
Shad, any questions for our second place finisher, Jose Ruiz?
No, great run. Kind of noticed you there, and the last 2 stints you were starting to make up some ground. You look like you're pretty good in the long run, and I know you're pretty good at the long run because at Auto Atlanta, what was it, the trucks, I think, or Xfinity, one of those. You won the race, and you were really good there. Another track, a track that really eats up the tires. I guess my only question to you is, you finished 4.1 seconds back. You're running about the same lap times as Kyle Taub. Anything you could have done earlier before that last stint to maybe make up some of that time, and if so, where did you really lose it?
Hard to tell. I feel like I kept pace with Kyle. Obviously, he got the lead way before I was able to get through traffic, but I feel like on that last pit stop, I was really aggressive getting onto pit road. I thought I sped, but it didn't give me a black flag. So, I don't know. I'm not very good on the short runs. I try to be fast, but I don't know. I guess I'm just too used to saving tires for the end there. And when I try to race in the beginning of the run, I burn up my tires. So I'm still trying to find that medium, but I don't know what else I could have done there.
Well, I know finishing second isn't always the greatest, but I think, with how the night went with some of the top, playoff drivers getting knocked out or looking like they ran into a telephone pole. And I would think finishing second, tonight would definitely make yourself feel pretty good. So congrats on that.
Yeah, man, thanks. Second's good. I just wish I qualified a little better, but like I said, I'll take second. Good run. Excited to see what the points look like after our race.
All right, Jose. Congratulations, second place. A good points night for you for the finish. Like you said, with the stages, you got to figure those out because that's probably the biggest key. It seems the way guys are pointing their ways with stages and things like that. So, but I mean, overall, great night with the finish second. It's definitely going to help you move up through the points a little bit here before we get to the next two races. I feel like one of those two you could be a shot for a win. So we'll see if you can make it into the final four and go for that championship for Turn Down for What. Great night. Any shout outs for you?
Shout out to Adam and team. Shout out to Roku for putting this on, or at least streaming the races. Paul Bear for being admin during the race and putting this on for during the week to let us run and have some fun on iRacing. And shout out to our Discord channel.
All
the
right.
Team Discord channel.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right. Gonna move over to third place, and that's gonna be the one and only Byron Jones driving that pink and white 213 Simware Racing.com paint scheme. And Byron, I feel like you finished second a bunch of times now. You finished third now 2 weeks in a row, I believe. You might want to change your number to the 3. But don't go any further. You might have to change your name to the 1 here, and that might put you into the win. But you are so close multiple times throughout this season. I mean, I was talking to Pete and Shad. I think if we go through the records for each race this season, I want to say you finished in the top 3 in at least 6 of them that we've talked to you, and you're so close to breaking through and getting that first win. I hope that you're not down on yourself. I hope that you're not frustrated. A third place finish of this track, getting through the stuff you did. You sent it full send through that incident with Tyler Dohar, Pacey Wygen, and Mike Allen. You got a little damage from it. You got damage early on in the race, and we're still fast. How much damage for time did you have to fix on that?
Actually, that incident, I had nothing. It looked like netcode, but I was more than far enough away from that incident that it didn't do any damage to my car. I was able to keep going, and I felt I had a really fast car. I really did. I am kicking myself right now because I spent a little bit longer time than I should have battling some lap cars. I had the speed, and I just struggled to get around some other cars that were on tires, and it's tough to pass at Charlotte. It really is. I was struggling all night long to really find the right spot to get everybody, because once you got side by side with someone, you're side by side with them for at least the next 3 or 4 laps. You got to either force them up just a little, or you got to send yourself in just a little bit more to allow your car to push up. But I mean, I can't complain. It's a good point stay. I'll take the points. I'll run with it. Stage points as well. So that's going to be a huge, huge help, hoping that I can get myself into this round of 4. But I am going to kick myself just a little bit there because Indy, I'm okay at. I'm not going to say I'm the best at Indy, and Talladega, I mean, you might as well just make that a coin flip. That is not, it's not per se one of my better tracks, but I am good at play tracks. At the end, I always seem to be there, but we just got to play smart throughout these next 2 races.
Byron, I tell you, we watched you quite a bit tonight, and several times you were able to get a little bit of a run coming off the corner, able to pull side by side, a little bit of a side draft on the rear end, and ultimately able to make the pass, running high and running low. Ultimately, Jose was able to get around you on the outside. How much were you really pushing early to try to get a little bit of a gap, and once you got there, how much of it was race management to where you're backing down your throttle time and just managing the gap?
Yeah, like I said, it's just I got myself side by side with Zach. I got myself side by side with I believe Murphy as well. And as soon as I struggled to get around those two, Kyle was already a second ahead. He was on rails. I don't know what was up with him, but he had some serious speed tonight. No one was going to be able to compete with him from the get go. It seemed like he had the race winning speed. I just, like I said, I beat myself just a little because I struggled to get around Zach and Murphy there, and that's what allowed Kyle just to pull away a little bit further. And I also burned out my tires in the same doing, but I can't complain. P3. I saw Jose coming on me. I knew what was going to happen. Jose had definitely saved his tires just a little bit, and did also come in a lap after me. So I was just fighting for all I could.
Chad, any questions for this deuce car of Byron Jones?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's nice every week he seems to be up here lately and able to talk to us. But I know Byron is probably starting to get frustrated that you're second, you're third, you're running up there almost every race. Um, you know, is it starting to weigh on you? Like, I'm up here, I'm running, and I just cannot break through with one of these wins. And then also, you know, going to Indy next week, a track where you have to be good coming off of turns 2 and 4 for those long straightaways. You know, how, I guess, because you kind of got a, pretty good, spot in the playoffs, but you need to get that win to get automatically locked in. How much are you going to push it knowing that the following week you guys are going to Talladega?
Yeah, I don't know, honestly. It's going to take a lot of practice. Obviously, I was practice ready for Montreal. That flipped, which is okay. I still got a chance. I still got time to practice for Indy now that we know that's the official track. I'm going to be on that a lot this week, just trying to make sure my car is dialed in. I did that with Charlotte. I took advantage of Papa's little, what you call it, sessions that he put up, and I was able to gear in my car for tonight. It allowed me to give me my long run that I was looking for. So I just got to do the same thing. Got to get in, do some practices at Indy, fully understand the corners. I'm gonna take some time with this one. I would love to win. If I'm finding myself side by side with someone, I'm not gonna push them, but I am gonna try to get all I can out of the car. So we'll just have to see. Talladega, like I said, it's a coin flip, but I'm good at play tracks. I know how to sort of focus myself for the end of the race, and that's all I got to do for both of these races. Be consistent, which is what I've been really good at these past few weeks. So I just got to keep the momentum moving forward.
It was a heck of a night, Byron. He pretty much top five the entire night. That pink and white car was definitely noticeable up there amongst the others. So, great night for you. Good points, stage points. I'm pretty sure on both stages. So, one heck of a night for you, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
Good job,
Yeah,
Byron.
Byron, you got looks like 6 bonus points for stages, and then you got the third place finish as well. I think you led a lap. I'm not sure about that, but
I don't think I did.
yeah, I was gonna say it was either you or somebody else that went past you. I think it was Jose when you went down pit road that first time in stage 2. But
Yeah.
I mean, Pete, can you please give your speech one more time that you gave during the broadcast about Byron, where he came from, where he's going?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were talking about a lot of the people that with these big rigs, like the Kurt Busch with the $25,000 rig versus Garrett Smithley with a $300 rig, and I just keep on going back and thinking about you running on a laptop that barely had minimum specs for you to run on iRacing, only able to see the track, the wall, and about 10 cars. No grandstands, no people in the stands, no infield, no war wagons, no nothing. And I wouldn't call you a back marker car. I would have called you about a middle of the pack car. And as the season has gone on, you've absolutely progressed. You're faster. You're getting more and more aware of what your capabilities are. You're honing in your racing skills. I truly believe that you're just 1 or 2 changes away from being up front. And exactly like I said during the stream, once you get that W, I think the floodgates open and you go for multiple wins. And I cannot wait to be there for it.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Actually, you speak of those 1 or 2 upgrades that I may need. I am looking to hopefully soon get a better rig that's going to allow me to have a triple monitor stand, and then I'm gonna buy the brand new Logitech, get myself with that because that's what I've heard. If you upgrade the direct drive wheels, it makes that experience just a little bit better for you. It makes the car feel a little bit better too. So hopefully that will help me advance just a little bit further here.
I'll tell you what. I won't tell you that. We've been around HD Motorsports for quite a long time. He still races on the same TSXW wheel that he's used for a very very long time, going back to pro league days and whatnot. And he's knocking over 6K, multiple wins, doing very very well. I don't think it's necessarily the equipment all the time. Does it help? Absolutely. Is he looking at a direct drive? Absolutely. But I don't believe 100% that you have to have that in order to succeed. But whatever you feel you need to do, man, go get it. I'm a big fan. I stand by you. Congrats again on this finish tonight. And yeah, like I said, looking forward to seeing you get that dub sometime soon.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I think I just need to find something within this Logitech too. In the meantime, it's done me really really well. I just got to find something, hone it in just a little more.
Well, Byron, I definitely agree with Pete and Shad. I mean, the leaps and bounds from where you were before. Not that you were terrible or nothing. You just middle of the pack. Sometimes you had a little bit better of a race. Sometimes you had a little worse. The consistency this season has definitely shown the ability that you had before. You just had, a little less on a computer that it didn't allow you to see things that a lot of guys seen or felt on track. I am also a believer that I don't think it's the equipment either. I don't think people need to go and spend, a couple $100 or $1,000 on direct drives or, full rigs or even triple monitors or anything like that. I look at, a bunch of guys that run, $100, $200, $300 worth of full equipment and screens or whatever they got, and they pull off wins left and right. Look at one of the broadcasters tonight, Shad. He's got probably $300-$400 worth of stuff between his computer, pedals, and steering wheel, and he's one of the better drivers when he's on track. He wins a lot. He's out there. So I don't think it's necessarily the equipment. I think the equipment definitely helps when you do get it, but I don't think it's a necessary thing to go out and spend a bunch of money on. I think, like I said, you're finishing second consistently. You're finishing a top five, 100% consistency on that. I think you're just, one strategical move during the race or two strategical moves during the race, whether it's a pass or a one lap earlier pit stop, or like last week where you conserved a little too long and maybe miscalculated on your sim racing apps thing to where you could have been right there at the front. It's just those little bitty things now, sliding through a pit stall and having to back up even a foot. That takes time away. Those little bitty things, if you can correct those or fix those or whatever you want to call it, I 100% agree with Pete that the floodgates will open when you do get that first win, because I think the confidence boost that it'll give you, the idea of not sitting and contemplating and pushing and putting down on yourself because you didn't finish in first, you finished second or third, you'll go through the roof on it. So definitely full strides is where I think you're heading for full wins, and just unbelievable skill when it comes to getting that extra computer boost that you got from going from a laptop. So congratulations on that third place finish again this season. A bunch of them. You're setting yourself up. You creeped up. I think you're sixth now on the points, down 1 point from the cut line, tied with Pacey Wygant sitting there in fifth, 1 point back. You're 1 point back from Tyler Dohar, who slipped from first to fourth. So definitely right there within the graphs of getting through these next two races and getting that championship to where you might not even have to win. So definitely keep doing what you're doing, keep your head high, and we'll see you in victory lane, I think, pretty soon. Any shout outs for you before we end this thing?
Yeah, shout out, of course, to you guys, you, Pete, Swats, and Shad for all broadcasting this. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have a great league to go back and watch if it wasn't for y'all putting this on every week, being committed to show up, call these races. Shout out to, of course, the guys I was with tonight. They were helping me throughout the way. Jose, we were good working together. We knew what was going down. Same with Pacey and Tyler, just a little bit further back. We were we were all sort of planned. We knew what was going to happen, and it was just riding and biting our time. And it didn't fall our direction, but hey, it is what it is. Shout out to, like I said, Pete creating the team, making it is what it is. Shout out to my grandma. I'm sure she's out there watching. And then, of course, shout out to 13 Simware. We have collabed and made these amazing shirts. Say F Cancer on it, has the car that you guys saw tonight at Charlotte on the shirt, and all profits go straight to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. So if you haven't, go pick up a shirt. They come in small through double X, except for the white. They come through small through 3X. So if you got the money, you want to do it, it goes towards a great cause, and all that will be donated at the end of the month. We're doing great. We're doing strong from what I've heard from 213. So let's just keep up the momentum on selling those shirts. But other than that, my paint company too. We were the ones that went ahead and designed the car for this week, and it looked really, really nice under the lights. So I can't wait to see what it's going to look like at Indy, Kansas, and Talladega. So I'm just pumped, ready for the rest of this. And Mike, of course, sorry, forgot Mike for putting this whole league together, making it is what it is, and we wouldn't be here without him.
We definitely agree here in the booth. Definitely want to appreciate all the drivers for being out on track, putting on a show week in and week out, giving us something to talk about rather than having a lot of dead airspace, because you guys definitely put on a show. Definitely huge shout out to Papa Bear for putting on the league. Paying for all these races, the practice sessions that some guys are using to their advantage. When he puts them out there, it's definitely showing who's showing up for those practice sessions and getting that extra little bit of time on the tracks. And then obviously huge shout out to Pete and Shad for being in the booth, keeping me company up here, and not having to talk for 2.5 hours or 3 hours by myself is definitely a huge boost. So absolutely congratulations, and congratulations to all the top three. But like I said before, to all the people out there watching, you can catch all these stuff or all these races and content from myself, Pete, Atlanta, Rick James, Pojnowski, SBRN, the podcast, all that stuff. You can be found on the Sim Racing channel every single day, 24/7. You can go out there and watch these races on repeat. You can watch them on all the channels that I'm on with Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. But here, probably shortly, I will probably be just going to be doing Twitch and the Sim Racing channel at some point here only. So if you're not followed or subscribed or anything like that to those channels, definitely reach out and subscribe or follow to Twitch. Definitely go out there and use the advantage right now for the Sim Racing channel with the discount for the year subscription or the monthly subscription. There's a discount going on right now, so definitely go out there and check that out. But Pete, Shad, any final words about this race? I mean, it was an incredible race to watch. A lot of green flag races or laps, a lot of fast action back and forth. Not a whole lot of passing going on outside the top 5, top 10, but a really great race.
Yeah, absolutely. Very great race. Saw a lot of 2, 3 wide. Definitely saw some wrecks. Saw some people rebound stronger than at least Shad and I thought they would. And man, one hell of a race. Looking forward to the rest of the season and finding out, in the long run, who's gonna be crowned champion of what is it, season 5? I think already. Man, they're just flying by.
Yeah, my only point, well, I guess 2 points is, yeah, I mean, we know Del unfortunately got caught up in that wreck. We know he's strong. He's leading the league in wins with 4. Obviously, he's going to be a playoff, championship race contender. And then, a point that Kyle was making earlier about how, he's, the pressure's off of him in these next 2 weeks. My only comment to that is, you also do not want to make any enemies in these next 2 weeks with that championship race and you being locked in. So he does have the opportunity to put his car in spots where others, can't, that are trying to get into that Final Four. But you definitely don't want to make any enemies that'll make it harder for you to get by or something like that in that championship race. So yeah, one heck of a race. Not too many cautions, and definitely looking forward to Indy next week.
Yep, I want to throw a huge shout out to Christine's Warriors as well for coming out and joining us in the chat. Really appreciate you guys all coming out and watching and listening to us and watching these races and watching these drivers run around and put on a show. Really appreciate it, and keep on the fight, Christine. And the link that Pete put out there in the chat, definitely, like I said, go out there and click that link. Go out and donate if you can. Go out to Byron's 213simracing.com and buy one of those shirts. If I'm going to unfortunately have to probably buy a white one because I need a little bigger than a 2X, so not going to be able to get a pink one. But, yeah, definitely catch us next week as we go to Indy, Tuesday, 9:10 p.m. Eastern. Definitely going to be a fun race and see who can battle it out. These guys have been loading the tower and ticker with pink all over the screen for those playoff drivers within the top 10. So we'll see if they can do it again next week, and we'll catch you guys live at 9:10, like I said.